This woman is a murderer despised by the entire internet. Yet she has 5 incredibly handsome fiancés. But now she has no interest in these men, because there are more important things to do. Lan Jing is removing her makeup, but suddenly interrupted by a man barging in. He is one of Lan Jing's fiancés. After witnessing his domineering demeanor, she was deeply impressed. Instigated by other fiancés, he decided to come and confess. But upon seeing Lan Jing's appearance, he couldn't handle it. He immediately closed the door and fled. Lan Jing was confused by this sudden commotion. But now the most important thing is to change back this strange outfit. In the hair salon, Lan Jing is very satisfied with her new hairstyle. Then she leaves amidst the envious gazes of others. During the 3 years her body was occupied, everyone left Lan Jing, except for one person. His love and trust for her never changed. That is her grandfather. Lan Jing excitedly opens the door to her grandfather's house. But the scene inside petrifies her on the spot. She sees her white-haired grandfather standing on a stool, cursing angrily, frantically scrubbing the glass. Only when Lan Jing appears does he come to his senses and put away his phone. Seeing his precious granddaughter coming to visit him, he flashes in front of her, comforting Lan Jing not to mind the rumors. He doesn't believe his good granddaughter would kill someone. He will stand firmly by her side, no matter what. Lan Jing's eyes fill with tears. She buries her head in her grandfather's embrace, crying in pain. During the 3 years she was held hostage by the system, she experienced various hardships in thousands of worlds. Only here can she let herself relax completely. Grandfather comforts his granddaughter while crying himself. When they both calm down, the butler hands over a video of Lan Jing being beaten. Grandfather hurriedly grabs the tablet to watch. In the video, Lan Jing is kicked to the ground by a woman in a cheapao. The woman is cursing her for seducing her man. The video has already reached #1 on Weibo's hot search. Angered, grandfather smashes the tablet. His precious granddaughter, whom he held in his palm for fear of dropping and in his mouth for fear of melting, is actually treated so inhumanely. Lan Jing quickly calms her angry grandfather. She uploaded this video herself. After all, revenge must be taken step by step. The girl returns after 3 years of time travel, only to become a murderer despised by everyone online. To counterattack and take revenge, Lan Jing uploaded the video of her being beaten, which immediately became #1 on Weibo's hot search. The cause of all this was due to Lan Jing, or rather the former Lan Jing. During her time travel, someone occupied her body. Tian Lan Jing was very fond of her fiancé, Li Junyang, who was the same age. She would write love letters to him every day, make heart-shaped lunchboxes, and follow him closely. When she discovered that Li Junyang actually liked her stepsister, she went to confront him, but was warned by her crush. She was also falsely accused of seducing a married man. Her reputation plummeted, and the possibility of being with Li Junyang became increasingly slim. Qian Lanjin was so angry and humiliated that she found the original wife who spread the rumors and slapped her. But she was falsely accused by the original wife of planning to make her miscarry. After the video of the beating was uploaded online, it exploded like water hitting hot oil, causing public outrage. Although these foolish actions were not done by the real Lanjin, she still has to resolve this matter. In the hospital, the scheming woman Chen Shasha, who had just had an abortion, saw the video posted by Lan Jing and noticed people starting to question her. She sought help from her husband. The man didn't care and laughed, telling her, "Just release another video playing the victim, and public opinion will be back in their hands." Lan Jing watched the newly released statement video and sneered. They didn't take her warning seriously. They really don't know what's good for them. Then don't blame her for being ruthless. In the hospital, Chen Shasha was worried if this would be too much. The man told her not to be afraid. If not for this, they wouldn't have gained so many followers in this lifetime. But Chen Shasha was still worried something would go wrong. Her concern was correct. The next second, she saw on her phone a video posted by Lan Jing pretending to be a passerby. In the video, her husband was hitting on the former Lan Jing, but got no response. He had a disgusting smile, his eyes fixed on the former Lan Jing's chest. Not only that, when Qian Lan Jing was about to leave, the man directly hugged her from behind. His lewd behavior was fully exposed. Chen Shasha gripped her phone tightly. She never thought her husband had been deceiving her all along. He said he was seduced at the time, but now he became the one seducing others, even when she was pregnant. Chen Shasha trembled with anger, furiously shouting the man's name. This girl used to be a tough one who could beat up anyone from the elderly home to the kindergarten. But when she returned from time travel, everything had changed. During Lan Jing's 3 years of time travel, her body was occupied by an outsider. But that person wasn't half as domineering as her. Always timid, bullied by others, and left behind a mess when they left. At this moment, Lan Jing was packing her luggage. When she time traveled, her body was told she only had 20 years to live. She must rely on men to break through the crisis. It sounded ridiculous to her. She is Lan Jing, who has experienced countless life and death situations in 3 years. She's not afraid of this. Then, ignoring the maid's persuasion, she left the villa. Before leaving, she didn't forget to ask the maid to tell them that all those engagements were void. These ridiculous days should end. Before Lan Jing reached the front door, she could hear her father's scolding from afar, angrily pointing at the young man standing in front of him. Lan Chen was also very upset. He retorted angrily, saying he learned it all from him. Besides, there's clearly someone even more useless, yet he's always scolding him, only picking on him. Lan Jing, who just entered, happened to hear what her brother said. She knew he was referring to her and felt quite resentful. How could he speak ill of his own sister like that? At this time, a red-haired woman came forward to mediate. This person is his stepmother, Shen Rong. She looks somewhat similar to Lan's birth mother. She used some tricks to make her father marry her. Since then, she's been playing the role of a gentle and virtuous good wife. On the other side, the purple-haired girl helping to mediate is called Lan Jiaojiao. Her original name is Shun Jiaojiao. Like her mother, she's always acting sweet and lovable to please people. Lan Jing was very displeased seeing all this. But without knowing the inside story, it really looked like a warm family of four in her eyes. In the 3 years she was gone, the outsider was manipulated by these mother and daughter. Disliked by her birth father and brother, she eventually became an outsider who didn't fit in. But Lan Jing won't be as weak as her. She walked confidently in front of them. Lan Jiaojiao was very shocked. She didn't expect the useless Lan Jing to suddenly become so beautiful. He walked up to Lan Jing, pretending to ask if she was moving back in. Lan Jing didn't play along. She brought everything to the surface, stating directly that she was here to take back everything. Looking at Lan Jiaojiao's surprised expression, Lan Jing laughed coldly inside. Trying to play mind games in front of her? She's Niu Galu. Lan Jing has never been an easy target. After returning from time travel, she found her father and brother had been taken away by her stepmother and stepsister. The powerful and skilled Lan Jing couldn't tolerate a mere schemer trying to compete with her. She pressed close to Lan Jiaojiao, mocking her condescendingly. I remember you didn't have the Lan surname 3 years ago. Now you dare to claim yourself as the true daughter of the Lan family. You're so impressive. Shen Jiaojiao/Lan Jiaojiao didn't dare to confront her directly. She pretended to be scared and hid behind her father to deal with Lan Jing. Dad and brother were also surprised. They didn't expect the timid and useless Lan Jing of the past 3 years to suddenly become like this. Lan Jing frowned at the two. Originally, her father loved her dearly, and her brother relied on her completely. But now everything had been destroyed. She didn't want a conflict with her father either. She went upstairs alone with her suitcase. The stepmother beside still pretended to be nice as usual. Lan Jing looked back, seeing her trying to calm her father down, and laughed coldly inside. Let's see how long you can keep up this act of a virtuous wife and mother. She returned to her room and found the layout was still the same as 3 years ago. It seems the Lan mother and daughter hadn't reached the point of total disregard yet. Thinking of her cute brother's beaten wounds, she decided to make an ointment to send over. Lan Jing knocked on her brother's door. Lan Chen heard someone knocking, thinking it was his sister Lan Jiaojiao. He opened the door excitedly, but found it was Lan Jing. His joyful expression immediately collapsed. Lan Jing thought that sister call was for her. Although happy inside, she casually tossed the ointment to her brother, pretending to be nonchalant. Lan Chen looked at the ointments in both hands. The right one was given by Lan Jiaojiao before Lan Jing came. That's why he was so happy when opening the door. He threw away Lan Jing's ointment without a second thought. Lan Jing was very displeased by this attitude. She was his real sister, yet this brat treated her like this. Unexpectedly, Lan Chen said his real sister was Lan Jiaojiao. It seems this kid has really become unruly. Angered, Lan Jing punched him on the head. She grabbed his collar and pulled him close, coldly asking Lan Yichin to say again who his real sister was. But to her surprise, her brother became very angry upon hearing this. He pushed her away forcefully, with endless rage in his heart. What's it like to be frequently slandered and falsely accused? Lan Jing was happily eating with her brother when unexpectedly, the rat she had dealt with before jumped out again. Looking at the public opinion brought by Chun Shasha's pitiful video, Lan Jing wasn't troubled at all. It was just weeding out the weak. Since they like to mistake her kindness for weakness, don't blame her for being ruthless. Lan Jing immediately released a video, instantly turning the public opinion around. Unexpectedly, Chinshasha's miscarriage was all planned by them. It was a tactic to gain money and followers. Lan Yichin slammed his fist on the table to vent his anger. How could someone use a child's life to gain attention? It's truly inhumane. Lan Jing didn't say much, preparing to leave, because in her 3 years of time travel, she had already seen too much of human nature's dark side. Lan Jing had no time for these matters. She had important things to do. Lan Yichin was puzzled. What important things could she have? Lan Jing was annoyed by her brother's naive expression. How could he be so stupid? Of course, it's about making money. Otherwise, where would the money come from for him to spend? In a blink, Lan Jing found a pianist. Although this person was famous worldwide, none of his piano pieces were his own compositions. He was now buying original scores at high prices, and Lan Jing happened to have a few music sheets. To her surprise, Lan Jiaojiao was also here, but she didn't care. Just a clown. The pianist took the music and glanced at it. He said her piece wasn't good enough. He knew about the Lan family situation and wanted to please Lan Jiaojiao. Lan Jiaojiao still pretended to speak up for Lan Jing, asking the pianist to try playing it. But inside, she was waiting to see Lan Jing embarrassed. The pianist took the music sheet. Just as he played the first note, he angrily threw the sheet at Lan Jing. He said her piece had no highlights and was garbage. Lan Jing's expression immediately darkened upon hearing this. That was the piece she composed in the apocalyptic world, which once brought hope to people in despair. Now it was called garbage. However, Lan Jing's expression didn't reveal her feelings. Instead, she was full of confidence. She had ways to prove the value of her music sheet. Lan Jiaojiao covered her mouth and giggled, still pretending to defend Lan Jing. The pianist became even more aggressive, continuously insulting Lan Jing. At this moment, a crisp voice attracted everyone's attention. A blue-haired man leaned against the wall, mockingly applauding the pianist while laughing. And beside him, a handsome, red-haired man strode towards them. This girl returned after quick transmigrating for 3 years. Not only was her reputation ruined, but she also gained 5 sons from small worlds, each one a mother-doting maniac. Lan Jing originally wanted to sell piano pieces to make money, but was repeatedly humiliated by the pianist. At this moment, heroes appeared. One mocked the pianist, while the other praised her music. This sudden situation caught Lan Jing's attention. Unexpectedly, the blue-haired man saw Lan Jing and suddenly became excited. He didn't expect to see Mother here. This person was Long, one of Lan Jing's 5 sons. But of course, Lan Jing didn't know she had 5 such grown children. Lan Jiaojiao was thrilled to see Long Hua, never expecting to meet the king of the music world here. And the red-haired man beside him was incredibly handsome too. His slightly long bangs half covered his eyebrows and eyes, but couldn't hide the noble aura all over his body. That melancholic gaze was like Cupid's arrow, striking straight to the heart. Even Lan Jing couldn't help but look a few more times. Fortunately, she was reserved enough, with strong self-control and restraint, and quickly averted her gaze. Little did she know that as she looked away, Qining happened to cast his gaze on her hand. His eyes gradually became dark and passionate, unconsciously turning red. So white he wanted to touch and possess it. Ronghua immediately felt a strong sense of crisis. Oh no, his good brother actually wanted to compete with him for mother. At this time, the pianist approached Ronghua curiously, wondering if the king of singers liked this piece. Ronghua, unwilling to deal with this guy who insulted Mother, turned his head and left. He walked up to Lan Jing, trying his best to stay calm, carefully asking if he could borrow the music sheet to look at, afraid that even a loud voice might upset Mother. Lan Jing, having quick transmigrated through so many worlds, was quite experienced. Although she noticed Ronghua's oddness, she calmly handed over the music sheet. After looking at it, Ronghua secured it with a music clip. He sat down and began to play. As his fingertips danced, beautiful music flowed forth. Lan Jiaojiao watched with a fluttering heart, her face flushed. The pianist wore a look of disdain, extremely displeased. But Ronghua hadn't played for long when he sensed something was off. He suddenly hit a wrong note. When he wanted to continue, Lan Jing suddenly grabbed Ronghua's hand, interrupting him, and said he was playing it wrong. The pianist thought Lan Jing felt embarrassed and stopped him, so he continued to mock her and burst into laughter. Not only did the girl interrupt the king of singers playing, but she even said he played it wrong. Yet the king of singers wasn't angry at all, instead defending the girl and asking for her guidance. After Lan Jing interrupted Ronghua's playing, a burst of laughter suddenly came from beside her. The pianist sarcastically mocked her music. Lan Jiaojiao folded her arms, waiting to see the show. The pianist continued to mock, saying even if this piece was given to him for free, he wouldn't be interested. Hearing this, Lan Jing wasn't angered. She spoke slowly, her voice cool and confident. The first half of this piece is indeed a bit plain, but it's certainly not as bad as you say. Want to make a bet? Let's bet this piece will become a global hit. Before Lan Jing could finish, she was interrupted by the pianist's unrestrained laughter. Lan Jiaojiao also tugged at her sleeve, laughing softly. Her face wore a sweet, harmless smile, but her tone was extremely sarcastic. At this moment, a long, broad hand swatted away Lan Jiaojiao's hand that was clutching Lan Jing's clothes. Ronghua separated the two, coldly looking at Lan Jiaojiao. Then he asked Lan Jing where he played wrong. Seeing herself being ignored while Lan Jing was so close to her idol, Lan Jiaojiao turned red with anger, cursing inwardly. Lan Jing quickly explained Ronghua's confusion, slowly describing the background of the music's creation and the emotions during performance. The piano piece was composed during the apocalypse. On the surface, it sounds weak, bleak, and desperate. But in reality, it's full of longing for life, a piece that can bring hope to people. After listening, Qining pushed Ronghua aside and sat at the piano. His fair, slender hands slowly rested on the keys. Thinking of the sheet music and the apocalyptic scene, his hands began to dance unconsciously. Notes burst forth, crisp and melodious. The contempt and disdain in the pianist's eyes completely disappeared, replaced by shock. His pupils contracted, and he stood frozen, even his breath suspended. He looked at his moving hands in disbelief, unable to comprehend. What kind of hell did Lan Jing, who created this piece, go through? The pianist came to his senses. If he could get this music, he would surely become famous, advancing his music career to the next level. He then eagerly asked Lan Jing about the price of the music, wanting to obtain the seemingly divine sheet music. Lan Jing coldly looked at the frantic pianist. Just now he was saying this piece was garbage, and now he wants it? How could that be possible? This man was supposedly a legendary piano master, but he turned out to be all show and no substance. Although famous worldwide, he didn't have a single piano piece of his own. Moreover, his character was extremely poor. Lan Jing approached him to sell a piano piece, but he dismissed it as trash without even playing it. After hearing the piece, he wanted to buy back the sheet music. Lan Jing, of course, refused to give back the sheet music and turned to leave. Unexpectedly, she was suddenly grabbed. The pianist not only didn't apologize, but even threatened Lan Jing not to leave. Only I am qualified to perform such a divine piece. If you don't sell it to me, I'll blacklist you in the music industry. Lan Jing was not afraid at all. She coldly said, "In my eyes, anyone is qualified, but you uniquely are not." The pianist, angered by the mockery, raised his fist to strike Lan Jing. At that moment, Qining appeared, tightly gripping the pianist's fingers, warning him that if he wanted to play piano for the rest of his life, he'd better not act rashly. The pianist, frightened, retreated repeatedly, not daring to cause more trouble. Seeing the pianist back down, Qining turned to Lan Jing, praising her piece as excellent and offering to take her home. When leaving the concert hall, as Lan Jing passed by Lan Jiaojiao, a single glance scared her into immobility. After Lan Jing and the others left, with a bang, a vase fell. The pianist impotently vented his anger. He angrily questioned Lan Jiaojiao. "Didn't you say Lan Jing was useless? How could she produce such an amazing piano piece?" Lan Jiaojiao didn't know how to answer. Lan Jing had always been weak and incompetent. He thought the piece might be stolen. What Lan Jiaojiao didn't know was that this piece was created by Lan Jing during her transmigration. She wasn't the simpleton who had occupied her body for 3 years. On the other side, Lan Jing sat uncomfortably in the car. The The blue-haired man behind her was too strange. His attitude towards her seemed odd. As a singer, not only did he want to buy the piano piece with a 70-30 split, but he was willing to take the smaller share. Rong-ho was very excited. He could interact with Mother at such close proximity. If not for his big brother's requirement not to reveal himself, he would willingly accept even a 100% split. Lan Jing suddenly seemed to discover something and kept staring intently at Rong-ho. Although Rong-ho was happy to be stared at by Mother, he was a bit nervous, afraid Lan Jing would discover his true identity. This shining, handsome man was actually the son of the woman in front of him, who was 2 years younger than him. Lan Jing stared at the man for a long time, finally remembering his identity. "You're that powerful singer who's also great at piano, the superstar Rong-ho, right?" Rong secretly sighed in relief. Mother hadn't discovered his true identity. He was also happy to be recognized by Mother, nodding his head like a rattle drum. Lan Jing knew Rong-ho's piano skills were not bad. Although she was in need of money, she wasn't at the point of needing charity. She decided to sell it with a 50-50 split. Rong-ho, of course, didn't question it. Mother's decision was applauded, and the matter was settled. At the distant Jiuchuan villa, 4 men were intensely discussing how to deal with the 2 scumbags who bullied Mother. They were Lan Jing's sons, each not only talented but also mother-doting maniacs. After Rong was sent Lan Jing back, just as he stepped through the door, a scalpel flew past his face, embedding itself firmly in the wooden door, its tail still quivering. The brown-haired man with glasses sitting in the wheelchair pointed at Rong-ho. With a cold expression, he said emotionlessly, "Which hand touched her? Stick it out obediently." Such a special welcome made Rong-ho break out in a cold sweat. Calm down, calm down. The Jiuchuan mini-drama is about to begin. Everyone knows Lan Jing has 5 people, but specifically which 5? Big brother Rong Zheng, a true tycoon with billions in assets, very domineering and also cunning. Second brother Rong Zhua, a legendary genius in the medical field, always has a cold face. Third brother Rong Hua, a narcissist. His identity is well known, so no need for further introduction. Fourth brother Rong Ni, a hacker boss and racing expert, has an extremely short temper. The fifth is of course me, Rong Lin, the smartest and most talented among all. We came from a parallel future. At that time, Mother was still in elementary school. Of course, I was very young then, also in elementary school. I could secretly attend the same school as Mother. By the way, since 3 of us broke the rule and met Mother, we don't need to follow the agreement anymore. The fifth brother's wild imagination led to a group beating. Such a harmonious and happy group of 5 brothers. This man is the eldest son of the Shen family, but he secretly participates in underground boxing matches. Is it because he likes it? Is it a hobby? No, neither. It's just because he has no pocket money. His name is Shun Xiao, the school bully. Although he has a muscular body, he's no match for his opponent and is knocked down. Just as the crisis hits, the bell rings. The first half is over. It's time for the intermission. Lan Jing has been watching from below. She frowns as she looks at Shun Xiao, because this person looks exactly like her crybaby brother from 2 worlds ago. Lan Jing feels she can't just stand by and do nothing. She steps forward, her protective instinct kicking in again. Although Lan Jing has changed her appearance, Shun Xiao recognizes her at a glance. But he still can't believe the cool girl in front of him is Lan Jing. Is this really Lan Huaqi? Lan Jing is very angry when she hears Shun Xiao call her Lan Huaqi. She immediately gives him a karate chop on the head and says, "Call me sister," then confidently says, "I'll tell you how. From my observation, this bald guy is arrogant, only knows how to attack, but not defend. Moreover, his left waist must have been injured before. There's a problem every time he exerts force. You just need to do this and that, and you'll be fine." The second half of the match begins. As soon as it starts, Shun Xiao begins to provoke his opponent. As Lan Jing predicted, the bald man is easily angered. Blinded by rage, he charges straight at Shun Xiao with his fist raised. Shun Xiao is prepared and dodges to the side. Then he delivers a heavy hook to the man's waist, causing the bald man to cry out in pain. Shun Xiao doesn't give him a chance. He grabs the man's arm and performs a back throw. The bald man is slammed hard onto the ground, his chest and lungs in severe pain, unable to get up. Lan Jing's judgment was entirely correct. The left waist was indeed his weak point. The referee starts the countdown. Shin Xiao thinks the bald man is finished and starts to celebrate. Unexpectedly, in the last few seconds, the bald man uses his last bit of strength to charge at him. Fortunately, Lan Jing warned him in time. Shin Xiao barely dodged it. He turned and delivered a flying knee kick, completely securing the victory. All of this was witnessed by a man. However, he wasn't interested in Shin Xiao on the stage, but rather in Lan Jing below the stage. Her cool and dashing appearance struck his heart. This person is actually one of Lan Jing's fiancés. However, he hasn't recognized the newly made-over Lan Jing yet. In a small alley late at night, all sorts of strange things can happen. A long-haired woman was lying on the ground, with a hand pulling her hair. Constant cursing could be heard, catching Lan Jing's attention. Just as she was about to check it out, she was almost bumped into by a red-haired woman in a hurry. That woman glared fiercely at Lan Jing before quickly leaving, the threat in her eyes unmistakable. Lan Jing looked into the alley and saw a black-haired girl in a high school uniform lying on the ground. Lan Jing kindly offered to help, but the black-haired girl refused her goodwill. Her name is Gu Wanwan, and she's in the same dorm as Lan Jing. Although Lan Jing had never stayed in the dorm, Lan Jing's reputation preceded her, with everyone knowing her nickname Manhwa, Lan Flower Fool. She was also a pitiful person who was bullied like him. Gu Wanwan slowly got up, saying, "If they see you hanging out with me, they'll bully you too." Lan Jing sighed. She stepped forward to support the staggering Gu Wanwan, saying, "Since we're roommates, I'll naturally look out for you. If those people come to trouble you again, just come find me." The moment she touched Gu Wanwan's arm, Lan Jing was struck as if by lightning. Her head throbbed with pain, and her words stopped. A series of images flooded into her mind. People like me are like bugs in a sewer, only fit for dark corners. But you're the same, only fit to rot with me. The final image froze. Gu Wanwan holding an iron axe, with her bullies lying at her feet. Lan Jing was surprised that she could see Gu Wanwan's future. Such a future couldn't be ignored. Moreover, she might be your destined person. Gu Wanwan looked at Lan Jing in disbelief. To look out for her? Does this mean she wants to be friends with her? But Lan Jing's next words immediately made her lose her excitement. It turned out that when Lan Jing said she would look out for her, it didn't mean being friends. Of course, how could anyone want to be friends with someone like her? This woman is too pitiful, being dragged by her hair and beaten by the school's big sister. Not only that, but they also ransacked her dorm room. "Stop it, all of you!" Lan Jing's voice halted their actions. The red-haired girl, seeing someone interfering, was very displeased. She was the big sister of this campus. How dare someone meddle in her affairs? But our fierce and mighty police sister wouldn't let them off. She was determined to handle this. In no time at all, she dealt with them, kicking the three out the door like stacked hamburgers. Lan Jing had dealt with the female thugs. She shyly handed Gu Wanwan a bruise ointment. The usually tough Lan Jing was a bit embarrassed in this aspect. Gu Wanwan was so happy she was about to cry. She thought what happened last night was a dream. Someone was actually being so kind to her. Gu Wanwan immediately took out all her belongings and handed them to Lan Jing. Lan Jing was stunned by this sight. Gu Wanwan timidly said, "Didn't you say if I behave well, you'd be my friend?" Lan Jing sat in the armchair and jokingly said Gu Wanwan was insulting her with money. Gu Wanwan realized Lan Jing was different from others. No longer timid, she excitedly asked what she needed to do to be her friend. Last night, for Gu Wanwan's sake, Lan Jing decided not to be indecisive and easily manipulated anymore. She didn't directly agree to her request, but wanted her to change gradually. "Didn't I already say? It depends on your performance." Gu Wanwan finally understood Lan Jing's intention. In the afternoon, Lan Jing once again became the hot topic of the whole school. But it wasn't mockery like before. The boys were extremely excited when they saw Lan Jing. They never thought that the former Lan clown would not only be full of fighting skills, but also become so beautiful. At this moment, Shin Xiao happened to walk by. He patted Lan Jing's shoulder to greet her. Unexpectedly, he was thrown to the ground. The boys nearby, seeing the school bully subdued in one move, were so scared they blurted out curses and broke into a cold sweat. But what shocked them more was that the school bully wasn't angry at all. Instead, he followed behind Lan Jing eagerly. Lan Jing asked, "Sister Jing, where are you going?" Lan Jing didn't want Shin Xiao to keep following, so she stopped and answered, "To the office. I'm changing classes." This woman is a super boy-crazy girl. She hits on every handsome guy she sees, not even sparing the teachers. years. Besides that, she also does all sorts of reckless things and never learns. She's mockingly called Lawn Flower Fool and Lawn Clown. In the office, with a bang, a class transfer application was slammed on the desk. The homeroom teacher, not even giving face to the principal, sneered that Lan Jing was a hopeless waste. How dare she think about taking the college entrance exam? Who gave her the courage? Liang Jingru. The principal kindly advised that if a student has the motivation to improve, they should be given a chance. They shouldn't give up on her because of her past actions. The student immediately asked loudly to all the teachers in the office if any class was willing to take her in, but was met with only silence. And the cause of all this current situation was thanks to that outsider who had occupied Lan Jing's body for 3 years. Even the private school she's attending now was bought with her grandfather's money. The class she's in doesn't even qualify for the college entrance exam. Lan Jing, in order to take the exam normally, even approached the principal to request a class transfer. Seeing no response, the principal decided to let the male police officer go. The homeroom teacher refused without thinking. Just as the principal was about to get angry, the male police officer suddenly spoke up, breaking the awkward atmosphere in the office. Since she couldn't transfer classes, then transfer schools, he casually said he would transfer to number 1 high school. The homeroom teacher heard this as if it was a joke. He kept mocking. Lan Jing slowly turned around. She knew that if she argued even one sentence with this psychopath, she would lose. Who's the real joke will be known in time. Results will prove everything. The principal knew things were not good and hurriedly called Lan Jing's grandfather. In the Lan family mansion, old Master Lan was playing a mobile game. Suddenly, he received a call notification during a team fight. He hung up without thinking and continued battling in the canyon. He only put down his phone when his dear granddaughter came to visit him. Just as the two were enjoying a warm lunch together, a sudden voice interrupted them. Lan Jing looked towards the sound. It was Tang Yu, the outsider's good friend. This woman was too vain. She kept changing various branded bags and clothes. The key is that the money was swindled from her friend. That day, Tang Yu brought her group of friends to the villa. Unexpectedly, there wasn't even any food. The purple-haired girl asked Tang Yu to order some takeout as the host. This put Tang Yu in a difficult position, because this villa wasn't even hers. To avoid exposure, she could only take out her phone and open the takeout app, asking them what they wanted to eat. Unexpectedly, her phone was suddenly snatched away. The purple-haired girl shamelessly ordered a bunch of takeout, then handed the phone back to Tang Yu to pay. But Tang Yu's phone didn't have that much money. The tea-haired girl thought she was pretending not to have money. Tang Yu didn't dare explain. She could only let herself be misunderstood. But in her heart, she was still blaming Lan Jing for not being there. Otherwise, she could have helped pay. Zhang Man came to help Tang Yu out of the situation. But the tea-haired girl kept complaining about being hungry, wanting Tang Yu to call Lan Jing to join them. Hearing Lan Jing's name, Zhang Man exploded as if her tail had been stepped on. She angrily cursed Lan Jing as a bitch and stated that they had already broken ties. As soon as she finished speaking, Lan Jing pushed open the door and entered, startling everyone. The friend group hadn't seen the changed Lan Jing. They arrogantly mocked Lan Jing for randomly entering private houses. Tang Yu was suddenly shocked, not understanding how Lan Jing suddenly appeared. When Lan Jing saw Tang Yu upstairs, she had already guessed what she was up to. Lan Jing was already clear about these people's character. She slowly sat down and said, "Are you all enjoying yourselves in my villa?" After learning that the newcomer was Lan Jing, the friend group spoke rudely. "Insulting your villa? Are you crazy? Have you no shame?" The red-haired girl even wanted to directly kick Lan Jing out. At this moment, the tea-haired girl stopped her, righteously stating that if Lan Jing was willing to pay for the takeout, they would reluctantly accept her. Reluctantly, Lan Jing couldn't help but laugh. Then she took out the property deed and threw it in their faces. "Take a good look at whose villa this really is. Trespassing is illegal. I'll give you at most 5 minutes. Get out of here." These women were too arrogant. They occupied someone else's house for a party and even told the owner to get out. Lan Jing was very familiar with the character of such people. A light threat made them instantly soften. Tang Yu, afraid of exposing everything, hurriedly came forward. "Why didn't you tell me before you came? Aren't we friends?" Lan Jing didn't intend to give her face. She directly clarified their relationship. The bracelet Tang Yu had taken before had never been returned. Lan Jing decided to teach her a lesson. As expected, Tang Yu's friend group instantly turned on her. The purple-haired girl fiercely pushed her to the ground. The tea-haired girl also kept mocking and blaming her. What's going on? Don't you owe us an explanation? It's not even your villa, yet you're showing off. Is the 500,000 monthly allowance also fake? Lan Jing smiled and helped answer. An illegitimate daughter of the Tang family. Where would she get a 500,000 allowance? Tang Yu turned her head away, not daring to face her friend group. The purple-haired girl suddenly realized that she seemed to have been used by Lan Jing. If Tang Yu didn't have that much money, how could she have so many branded bags and clothes? Lan Jing had already seen through it. If she said she gave them to her, they might actually go and snatch them. Since she decided to teach Tang Yu a lesson, she might as well try. Lan Jing pointed at Tang Yu lying on the ground. The clothes and bags they're wearing were all bought with my money. If you like them, just take them. Tang Yu looked at Lan Jing in horror, cursing her as a lunatic. And Tang Yu's friend group, as if they had lost their minds, upon hearing they could get branded items, pounced on Tang Yu. Everyone gathered around, fighting over Tang Yu's belongings. Although Lan Jing was mentally prepared, seeing the crazed expressions of these people, she still found it hard to believe. Is this what they call good friends and besties? After everyone dispersed, Tang Yu was left alone. All the valuable clothes on her body were snatched away, leaving only scratches and bruises from the chaos. Lan Jing lifted her chin and coldly told Tang Yu, if she didn't return the bracelet, she would make the Tang family pay for it. Tang Yu still didn't give up. She didn't believe that the critically ill and bankrupt Lan family could take down the Tang family. He is the emperor of the online world, revered as the giant emperor. As long as it's online, nothing can escape his grasp. Lan Jing sat on the sofa at Tang Yu's house, casually playing with a lighter. The old woman in front of her couldn't hold back anymore and asked for the uninvited guest's name. Lan Jing didn't answer directly. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that the bracelet you're wearing is mine. The old woman clutched the bracelet tightly. This was a gift from my granddaughter. Lan Jing spoke calmly. That's right. I lent it to her. Now I'm here to take it back. Upon hearing this, the old woman directly told Lan Jing to get out, or she would call the police. The bracelet was valuable. Only a fool would return it. Lan Jing wasn't in a hurry. She was in the right, so she acted very casually. The old woman certainly knew that Tang Yun couldn't afford such an expensive bracelet, so she had to find another way. She shouted for the butler to call Tang Yu to come back immediately. Coincidentally, the old woman's son returned home. Seeing her backup had arrived, the old woman suddenly became aggressive, turning to accuse Lan Jing of extortion. Upon learning this, the man didn't get angry. Instead, he cautiously asked if the text message he received was from Lan Jing. It turned out that in the morning, Tang Corporation's confidential information was leaked, causing many partnerships to end and stocks to plummet. After receiving the message, he rushed back, only to find his mother scolding Lan Jing as soon as he arrived home. Seeing the head of the family return, Lan Jing directly stated her purpose: to retrieve her mother's heirloom. The man knew that every second wasted would cause greater losses for the company. He hurriedly persuaded his mother to hand over the bracelet, but the old woman suddenly fell to the ground, acting unreasonably. The man was sweating profusely. He looked helplessly at Lan Jing, but Lan Jing wouldn't budge. She raised her phone, showing a 5-minute countdown. The man's face darkened, realizing he had met his match. He immediately called for someone to restrain the old woman. Soon after, the man, with a fawning expression, presented the bracelet with both hands. Please forgive our transgressions and spare Tang Shi. Lan Jing took back the bracelet and agreed to his request. Don't worry, I'm not interested in other matters. Then she turned to leave, but she happened to run into Tang Yu returning. Just as Tang Yu was wondering why Lan Jing was at her house, the old woman went up and slapped Tang Yu across the face. Why are there such biased fathers in the world, neglecting their own daughter while cherishing and protecting a prostitute? The father and son kept praising. Lan Jiaojiao had actually learned programming. Lan Jing couldn't bear to watch the scene anymore. She stood up, preparing to leave. Lan Jiaojiao relentlessly mocked her. Lan Jing thought to herself, what's a useless person pretending for? Lan's father also spoke up, asking if Lan Jing still knew how to program. This question aroused Lan Jiaojiao and Lan Yichen's curiosity. They didn't understand when Lan Jing had ever learned programming. Lan's father explained. Lan Jing knew programming from a very young age. She was once his pride. The Lan family's business also started with the software she developed. Unfortunately, 3 years ago, she suddenly became ignorant and useless. Lan Jing didn't want to hide from her father. She casually answered and turned to leave. This made Lan Jiaojiao feel a sense of crisis. If Lan Jing's skills were above his, would he still have a chance to enter Lan Corporation? Outside the community, Lan Jing had her hair in a high ponytail and changed into sporty clothes. Suddenly, the sound of brakes screeching was heard. Unexpectedly, she encountered Xin Xiao again. Lan Jing even began to suspect if this guy was stalking her. Xin Xiao wanted to give Lan Jing a ride on his bike, but was firmly rejected. Lan Jing had her hands in her pockets, very cold. Xin Xiao was trying to warm up to her cold attitude, but wasn't upset at all. He continued to pester Lan Jing. At this moment, the sound of modified motorcycles came from behind them. Xin Xiao heard it and panicked. No time to explain, Sister Jing. Get on the bike quickly. Lan Jing saw how flustered Xin Xiao was and turned to look. A group of young riders on modified motorcycles came buzzing at high speed. Without a word, she grabbed the helmet, pushed Xin Xiao aside, straddled the motorcycle, put on the helmet, and told Xin Xiao to hold on tight. Then she accelerated. It didn't take long for Lan Jing to leave them behind, but there were still some modified bikes in hot pursuit. Lan Jing spoke again, telling Xin Xiao to hold on tight. It was time to show her real skills. A sudden brake, a sidestep on the ground. What a cool and elegant drift combo. The modified bike riders couldn't react in time and fell. Lan Jing took the chance to accelerate. She completely left everyone behind. As is well known, 80% of chance encounters in this world have ulterior motives. After shaking off the modified bikes, Xin Xiao followed closely behind Lan Jing. He never thought Sister Jing would be so skilled at driving. He happily invited her to dinner. Lan Jing didn't want to go through another life-or-death speed chase, so she firmly refused. She also warned him not to have any more interactions with those modified bike riders. Just then, a car stopped beside her. Qining lowered the window, composed himself, and pretended to be calm as he said, "Oh, it's you. What a coincidence." Lan Jing saw it was the man who had helped her out last time. She greeted him very friendly. Yes, what a coincidence. Xin Xiao looked suspiciously at this strange man. If you ask why, it was because the car he was driving was really too shabby. Qinjing confident in Vai Lan Jing. Lan Jing glanced at the car, finding it hard to tell if he was joking. Qining was quite confident, not seeing any problem. To shake off the clingy Xin Xiao, Lan Jing agreed to his request. When getting in the car, she thought maybe the exterior was just for show, and the interior might be luxuriously modified. Who could have imagined? Lan Jing just lightly pulled on the handle, and the entire car door fell off. Lan Jing immediately had a black line over her head and couldn't help but mock. Is this car made of paper? This sudden situation also made Qining very embarrassed. Lan Jing was about to ask, but Qining interrupted her. His face was bright red. Pretending to be calm, he told Lan Jing not to worry. He would have someone send the car for repairs later. Lan Jing was very confused. Is there any need to repair such a wreck? After Lan Jing got in the car, Qining, to save face, stated that he would change to a Volkswagen another day. This statement made Lan Jing even more confused. She jokingly asked him where he got his alcohol. Talking about this, Qining regained his confidence. My name is Qining. I just casually opened a law firm. After learning his name, Lan Jing looked at Qining with a strange gaze. Could this be that richest and most famous lawyer in Asia? At this moment, Qining handed over his business card. This made Lan Jing completely confirm his identity. It really is you. Lan Jing had also heard rumors about this man. He was said to be the reincarnation of Pixiu, born with the fate of gathering wealth, having plenty of money. Unfortunately, he was a super stingy person who only took in and never gave out. This man was the most famous lawyer in all of Asia. His net worth exceeded 100 billion, yet he was extremely stingy. Not only did he wear clothes left by friends, but even the car he drove when chasing girls was a wreck. Lan Jing found it very strange after learning Qin Ying's identity. Other rich people drove Ferraris or Porsches, at least BMWs. He was quite unique. Qining explained. The money he earned was all to be saved for his future wife. As he said this, he glanced meaningfully at Lan Jing. Lan Jing raised her eyebrows in surprise, half-jokingly praising him. You're quite good to your future wife. Qining also shamelessly accepted Lan Jing's praise. But then he suddenly changed the subject, abruptly saying, "Do you want to consider being my woman?" This statement left Lan Jing speechless, making such an unreasonable request on their second meeting. Does this person have some serious problem? But although it was only the second meeting, Lan Jing felt a sense of familiarity in her heart. She couldn't say she liked him, but she felt like she had met him somewhere before. Seeing Lan Jing lost in thought, Qining quietly looked at her fair small hands. Suddenly thinking of something, he caringly asked if Lan Jing's hands were sore. Lan Jing found the question strange, but still didn't ask about it. Qining suddenly felt very regretful for not driving his newly bought expensive car. Such beautiful hands shouldn't be tired or hurt. Thinking this, he directly stopped the car and called to bring the new car. Lan Jing secretly perked up her ears, strangely looking forward to what kind of car it would be. When the new car arrived, Qining gentlemanly opened the door for Lan Jing. After Lan Jing sat down, she felt a bit embarrassed. "Sorry for breaking your car door. How much will the repair cost? I'll compensate you later." It was just a polite gesture, but unexpectedly, Qining directly took out his phone, wanted to add her contact to transfer money via WeChat. This made Lan Jing laugh. She deliberately acted unreasonable, saying, "I'm still a high school student. What if I can't afford to pay? It's okay if you don't have money. You can still," Qining said, leaning close to Lan Jing's ear and whispering, "You can still pay in installments." "I bet you've never seen such a straightforward man," the girl joked. "Compensate for the damage." Unexpectedly, the man took it seriously and gladly agreed to the compensation. What's more ridiculous is that he even supported installment payments. Lan Jing sat in the car, looking at the sunset outside the window. Thinking of the earlier scene, she still found it funny. There really are such silly people in the world. Qining was secretly happy about getting Lan Jing's WeChat. At this moment, Lan Jing suddenly wanted to get off the car. "I have something urgent to do. Let's meet another time." Because while she was looking at the scenery, she saw someone being bullied. 4 female thugs surrounded Gu Wanwan. The red-haired girl approached her with a mocking tone. "You think Lan Jing can really protect you?" She pressed a cigarette butt onto her shoulder. Gu Wanwan frowned in pain. Just as she was about to resist, the other 3 held her tightly. "Unwanted stinking trash. You dare to resist? We're really overestimating ourselves, you fat pig." Gu Wanwan was punched and sent flying. She lay on the ground, blood flowing from her mouth. Even in such a miserable state, Gu Wanwan still didn't give in. Because Lan Jing had promised her that if she behaved well, she would be friends with her. She absolutely wouldn't submit to these people anymore. Gu Wanwan protected her torn clothes, looking fiercely at the 4 who were abusing her. The thugs didn't expect that the once easily bullied Gu Wanwan would become so tough. Seeing her gaze, they felt a bit scared. "Damn, looks like we didn't beat you hard enough. You still have the strength to struggle. Sisters, keep beating her." Just then, someone suddenly tapped the red-haired girl's shoulder. Lan Jing leaned close to her ear. "Who do you think you are? How dare you touch her? Don't you know she's under my protection? You can't imagine what it feels like to be bullied. Whether you tell the teachers or parents, it's useless. They'll just say, 'A fly won't bite a seamless egg.'" Lan Jing breathed on her fist. She threw a hard punch at the bully who was hurting Gu Wanwan. This punch contained all of Lan Jing's anger. The red-haired girl was sent flying and sat slumped against the wall, seeing stars. Lan Jing went forward to check on Gu Wanwan's injuries, constantly comforting her. After learning about Gu Wanwan's experiences, Lan Jing frowned, realizing the seriousness of the situation. For someone like Gu Wanwan who had no family protection and was constantly bullied, the final result would either be turning to bully those weaker than her, or like Gu Wanwan, becoming psychologically twisted. Gu Wanwan wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and happily thanked Lan Jing. Seeing this, Lan Jing's heart was touched again. She decided to take a further step to help Gu Wanwan completely break free from this version of herself. Lan Jing very seriously asked Gu Wanwan again, "Do you want to be my friend?" Without waiting for Gu Wanwan's answer, she pulled her up, pointing at the red-haired girl nearby. She said loudly, "Whatever they did to you before, you do it back to them." But Gu Wanwan still didn't dare. Lan Jing knew she had developed a mental block from being bullied, so she continued firmly, "This is your only chance to prove yourself. If you want to be my friend, do as I say." Lan Jing had to make Gu Wanwan understand that she wasn't weaker than anyone else, and she shouldn't always be the target of bullying. Gu Wanwan finally made up her mind and slowly walked towards the red-haired girl. She closed her eyes, clenched her fist, and kept encouraging herself. Then, with a bang, her fist landed hard on the red-haired girl's face. She shouted, I'm not just rotten trash that can only live in darkness forever. I can have friends too. After venting her anger, Gu Wangwan exhausted her strength and slumped to the ground. Lan Jing stood nearby, silently watching everything. This man was too amazing. He always ranked first in the province in every exam. Not only was he called the top student in math, physics, and chemistry, but he was also very handsome. At the National High School Mathematics competition on Sunday, the girls around were praising Li Jun to the skies. Lan Jing couldn't help but look a few times curiously. Of course, it wasn't because this man was so excellent. It was just because the outsider who previously occupied her body liked this person. Unexpectedly, Lan Jing and Li Jun were assigned to the same exam room. The invigilator was Teacher Liu. While distributing the exam papers, Teacher Liu reminded the students that this set of papers was the most difficult in recent years and should be taken seriously. Lan Jing picked up and looked at the questions, feeling a bit confused. This was the most difficult exam? But Lan Jing didn't care much. Participating in the competition was just a means to return to #1 high school. So without thinking too much, she started writing furiously. Teacher Liu was peacefully drinking tea while invigilating, but his attention was suddenly drawn by a rustling sound. What's wrong with this person? Actually answering questions randomly. At this speed, she probably didn't even read the questions and just wrote nonsense. This careless attitude made Teacher Liu a bit angry. Looking at the other side, his good student Li Jun was frowning, thinking hard. Teacher Liu smiled slightly. That's more like it. After all, these questions were difficult ones he had specially prepared. Some of them, even university professors couldn't solve. Just then, with a pat sound, Lan Jing slapped down her exam paper, ready to hand it in. Teacher Liu instantly spat out the tea he had just drunk. Who takes an exam like this? At this speed, it must be random answers. But Lan Jing wasn't flustered. She calmly said, "For such simple questions, why would I need to write randomly?" Then she turned and left. Teacher Liu angrily picked up the exam paper, wanted to see which school this arrogant girl was from. But when he saw the paper, his expression changed drastically. This genius is truly a genius. Someone had used a fake name to take the math competition exam. In less than half an hour, they had solved the most difficult paper in years. Not only all correct, but also with solutions the paper setter hadn't thought of. Now, math associations from all provinces were looking for the student who used the alias Demon King Jing. The only known information was that the student was a short-haired girl wearing a hat. A nearby teacher suspected it might be Xiaoya, the champion of last year's competition, as the description matched. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. A girl entered with a ponytail, black hat, and green clothes. "Principal, were you looking for me?" The principal asked her with some hope if she was indeed. Demon King Jing nodded. "That's right, I am Demon King Jing." But just then, an assistant rushed into the principal's office, bringing a textbook published by Demon King Jing. The principal excitedly picked it up to look. The assistant recounted the information obtained. It was said that Demon King Jing was a student from Chuanzhou, and this textbook could only be purchased by students from Chuanzhou #1 high school first. Xiaoyu was shocked to hear this. She didn't expect this damned Demon King Jing to appear so quickly. The principal also realized Xiaoyu was an imposter and questioned her again if she was Demon King Jing. But Xiaoyu persisted. If she could firmly establish herself as Demon King Jing, she could get a spot to enter Jiuzhou. With tears in her eyes, she cried that someone was impersonating her. The principal, not expecting the student he had personally trained to become like this, angrily slammed the book on the table. "Look carefully. Is it others impersonating you? Were you impersonating others?" Xiaoyu picked up the textbook and looked. She immediately broke into a cold sweat. This level was not even in the same league as hers. The principal no longer paid attention to Xiaoyu and prepared to go to Chuanzhou personally to invite Demon King Jing back. But when he arrived at Chuanzhou Polytechnic Vocational School, he was dumbfounded. The principal's office was packed with people, all trying to recruit her. Who wouldn't want to become famous, leave their mark in history, and be adored by thousands? She had such talent and ability, but preferred to stay low-key, hiding behind various aliases. As soon as Lan Jing arrived at school, she encountered the homeroom teacher of Class A. "Isn't this Lan Jing? Weren't you supposed to transfer to #1 high school? Why are you still coming to the vocational school?" A teacher nearby chimed in. "She's clearly a useless good-for-nothing, yet dares to speak so arrogantly. Such students are the most annoying." Facing their mockery, Lan Jing showed no emotional response. "Don't worry about it. I'll transfer out within 3 days." Don't miss me too much in the future. After saying this, she turned and left. The homeroom teacher continued to mock. Thankfully, this kind of person isn't my student. Otherwise, it would be the worst luck in 8 lifetimes. Lan Jing, as if not hearing anything, walked away directly. After school, the homeroom teacher kept flattering a middle-aged man, recommending his little niece. The man suddenly stopped, took out a photo, and compared it with a nearby student. The figure matched the photo perfectly. The man hurriedly approached to greet her. Wang Jing, hello. I'm Lin Mao, the principal of number 1 high school. Lan Jing saw that the fish had taken the bait. Confident at first when seeing it was Lan Jing, he suddenly became uncertain. The homeroom teacher quickly said, Principal Lin, you must have mistaken her for someone else. This person has always been at the bottom of the class. Lan Jing crossed her arms casually. I am Demon King Jing, genuine and authentic. If you don't believe me, you can test me with questions. The homeroom teacher seized the opportunity to belittle Lan Jing again, but he was interrupted by Principal Lin's words. No need. Would you like to come back to our school? Principal Lin smiled, extending his hand to Lan Jing. Although Lan Jing had been expelled before, her grades were the best when she entered school 2 years ago. Moreover, that aura, even just from behind, others couldn't imitate even if they tried. The homeroom teacher suddenly understood something, cursing Lan Jing in his heart. You bitch, pretending to have poor grades just to fool me. Lan Jing ignored him completely. Looking at Principal Lin's extended hand, she smiled slightly. All right, but you have to agree to a few of my conditions. Today, let's talk about Lan Jing's fiancés. As everyone knows, our sister Jing has 5 fiancés. They are the black-haired Li Jiao, the blonde Muyan Huan, the blue-haired Li Junyao, the brown-haired Xiang Liangzhou, and one who is very mysterious and has never shown his face. Although she has 5 fiancés, due to the many outsiders occupying Lan Jing's body over the past 3 years, none of them have any good feelings towards her. And after Lan Jing returned, she was happy with this and didn't want to have any connection with them. But fate likes to play jokes. Ever since Li Qiu saw that handsome girl in the underground black market, he couldn't control himself. His whole heart was stolen away. He thought about her day and night, wanting to find her again. He would approach anyone with a similar tall figure and hairstyle to chat. What Li didn't know was that the girl was actually Lan Jing after her return. On the other side, at number 1 high school campus, Lan Jiao and Li Junyang were walking side by side. But now Li Junyang's mind was full of Demon King Jing, viewing her as a goddess. Of course, Li Junyang also didn't know that the goddess in his heart was actually Lan Jing. At this moment, a girl with a bun hairstyle stopped Li Junyang and handed him a love letter. Senior, this is from a student at the school gate. They asked me to pass it to you. Li Junyang took the love letter. Without a second thought, he threw it into the trash can. It's from Lan Jing again, isn't it? I've never seen such a shameless person. Then he angrily told Lan Jiao to find Lan Jing and tell her to stop writing love letters. Lan Jiao, viplisomewat akwadi. Although she's my sister, you know we don't have a good relationship, but she seems to have changed completely. She dyed her hair, removed her makeup, and has become much prettier. Perhaps you should consider her. Hearing this, Li Junyang became very angry and scolded Lan Jiao. My taste isn't that bad. I would never be interested in someone like her. Every genius is 1 in a million, but they're also easy targets for jealousy. Lan Jing had just resolved her school transfer issue and was about to relax when her phone suddenly received a message. The flashing warning lights on the wall inside the Jiuzhou Management Bureau indicated the severity of the situation. Their system was under a hacker attack. At this time, bad news arrived. The second layer of the subsystem's firewall had also been breached. The situation was critical. This place held Jiuzhou's most classified information. Rome personally took charge to fight against the enemy. In the past, Giant Emperor had repeatedly cracked criminal systems, exposing large amounts of criminal data. The Management Bureau system was actually created by Giant Emperor. They must be seeking revenge, recruiting hackers who were jealous of Giant Emperor. Although the system created by Giant Emperor was considered world-class and no one could repair it, the firewall hadn't been upgraded in 3 years. If it were to be breached, the consequences would be unimaginable. Bad news came again. The second layer of the subsystem's firewall had completely collapsed. Is there no other way besides self-destruction? After careful consideration, Rong and I still ordered the activation of the destruction program. Even if it would cause economic turmoil, they had to ensure the secrets wouldn't be leaked. Otherwise, more people would be harmed. Just then, Qining pushed open the door and entered. "Let me try." Rong and I had never heard that he knew anything about hacking, but Qining was full of confidence. "How would we know if we don't try?" Rong and I had no choice but to let him try as a last resort. Time passed second by second. The enemy's attack was slowly being weakened, but time was running out. 19-8. Hands were flying frantically over the keyboard, emitting a series of crisp sounds. Time had come to the last second. At this moment, the program panel turned blue again. The self-destruct program had stopped, but everyone wasn't excited. Instead, they were surprised because the operator wasn't Chini. The counterattack program had been initiated. Operator que. The hacker attack that had stumped the entire management bureau was completely repelled by one person. Everyone in the management bureau was overjoyed. Giant Emperor, who had disappeared for 3 years, had returned. On the other side, the atmosphere was completely different. It was the hackers who had attacked the management bureau. The blonde man suddenly revealed a confident smile. Their attack was just a decoy. The real purpose was to trace Giant Emperor's IP address. Longley was shocked and also realized the situation. But our sister Jing is the emperor of the internet. How could she not pay attention to something like this? You're so naive. When Sister Jing makes a move, you know it's serious. Lan Jing not only disguised herself, but also set up a reverse trace on the IP. Not only did she break through the enemy's firewall, but she also started attacking their system with the Little Jing virus. The enemy camp also discovered that the IP was fake. They instantly panicked. By the time Little Jing started attacking, they realized they had doomed themselves. They never expected that 13 people couldn't defeat Giant Emperor. Lan Jing stopped observing because it was already game over. News of the management bureau being hacked spread quickly. Giant Emperor instantly occupied the top spots in trending searches. Lan Jing sat on the sofa, looking at the message from Wei Jiao. The president wanted to meet her, but Sister Jing preferred to keep a low profile. She flatly refused. Wei Jiao couldn't understand. "Come on, it's not like the president can see what you're busy with." Lan Jing frowned and replied with a bitter smile, deeply experiencing the process of game programmers staying up all night. She mentally ruffled her increasingly thinning hair. Then she sighed, ignored the message, and continued coding. Because at the current rate of consumption of the Lan Group, it would be completely defeated in just a few years. To save the Lan Group, Lan Jing could only do what she did when she was 12 years old. Create another globally popular new game. This mother and daughter are really disgusting. Everyone was present at the Lan family dinner table except for one person. Lan Yichen and Lan Jiaojiao, both loyal fans of Giant Emperor, were happily discussing Giant Emperor. Only Lan's father noticed that Lan Jing wasn't there for dinner. He asked the servant, Aunt Lu. Before Aunt Lu could answer, stepmother Shin Rong spoke up. That child had her lights on all night, and game sounds were coming from her room. She probably didn't sleep all night. Lan Fu was very angry. He told Aunt Lu to call Lan Jing down for dinner. At this time, Lan Jiaojiao pretended to make excuses for Lan Jing. "I heard that sister's class can't take the college entrance exam. She must be upset, and that's why she's self-destructing by playing games all night." It was the first time Lan Fu heard about this situation. Lan Jiaojiao continued to exaggerate. "I heard that class is full of ignorant people." And before she could finish, she was interrupted. "I didn't know you cared so much about me." Lan Jing had just come downstairs and heard Lan Jiaojiao trying to drive a wedge between her and her father. Lan's father was very concerned about this. If she couldn't take the college entrance exam, her future would basically be cut off. Seeing Lan Jing's indifference, Lan's father was angry at her lack of ambition. Shen Rong seized the opportunity, holding Lan's father's arm and speaking up for Lan Jing. Lan Jiaojiao also took the chance to offer to tutor her. "Tutor me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability." But Lan Jing didn't say this out loud, just silently watching everything. The mother and daughter continued to say nice things to please Lan's father. Shen Rong pretended to be gentle and quiet. Lan Jiaojiao played the role of a good girl. Lan's father looked at Lan Jing, who was just focused on eating, and got very angry. He asked if she still wanted to take the college entrance exam. Although Lan Jing understood that her father didn't know the true nature of this mother and daughter, she was still a bit angry. She turned and left directly. Lan Jing knew that if she got angry now, it would only play into their hands. To mend the father-daughter relationship that had been torn apart by outsiders, she could only move slowly. However, to put her father's mind at ease, she still told him that she would transfer to First High School. The bottom student from a private school actually became the first in the competition. When Lan Jing returned to Chuanzhou First High School, she instantly became the focus of the whole school. Of course, they didn't know that Lan Jing was the Demon King Jing. Instead, they were mocking the expelled Lan the Idiot. In the senior grade office, the purple-haired teacher was complaining to the principal about Lan Jing. She didn't want an expelled student to transfer to her class. Lan Jing wasn't upset by these words at all. The aggressive purple-haired teacher, however, startled Gu Wanwan. Principal Lin was very direct. The decision had been made. Anyone who dared to have an opinion should speak up. No need to beat around the bush. But no teacher was willing to take on this mess. They all made excuses to avoid it. At this moment, the female teacher looked at the pink-haired teacher beside her and suggested the principal assign Lan Jing to Teacher Li's class. Of course, this wasn't out of kindness. It was because he wanted revenge after being rejected when trying to pursue a younger woman. However, to everyone's surprise, Teacher Li agreed immediately. Lan Jing was also very surprised, because previously, the outsider who occupied her body was expelled due to confessing to Teacher Li. Seeing this, Teacher Li explained that since she caused Lan Jing's expulsion before, this was a good way to make amends. The purple-haired teacher was very dissatisfied upon hearing this. Aren't you afraid he'll write you love letters again? I don't want any inappropriate teacher-student relationships ruining our school's century-old reputation. With a loud slap, Teacher Li responded firmly, turning back and saying coldly, as a teacher, I advise you to think carefully about what you should and shouldn't say before speaking. Seeing the atmosphere about to become tense, Principal Lin stepped forward with a smile to help mediate. He pretended to reprimand the purple-haired woman and decided on Lan Jing and Gu Wanwan's placement. Lan Jing was quite surprised. This teacher, Li, was quite respectable. She didn't dislike her because of what the outsider had done before. Having a transfer student join one's class was such a dreamy thing. Ronglin was already excited to see his mother at school. As Lan Jing's youngest son, he had the most opportunities to interact with Lan Jing. But what Ronglin didn't expect was that he would become classmates with his mother. After Lan Jing finished her self-introduction, Ronglin immediately jumped up, thinking he was still dreaming. Seeing this, Teacher Li introduced them to Lan Jing. Lan Ronglin and Zheng Yu were the best students. She asked Lan Jing and Gu Wanwan to each choose one as their desk mate. Too excited to hear the question clearly, Ronglin directly turned into a little puppy and happily chose Lan Jing. It's not for you to choose. It's for Lan Jing and Gu Wanwan to choose you, Teacher Li explained helplessly. After ending the farce, she asked Lan Jing to choose again. Seeing Ronglin's eager expression, Lan Jing's face darkened. After a long silence, she finally decided not to choose either. She wanted to sit with Gu Wanwan. Ronglin instantly became unsettled. What's going on? This Gu Wanwan was actually competing with him for mother. She could even pat her head. Oh, I want to be patted on the head too. Teacher Li was also helpless and told Lan Jing to find an empty seat first. Good opportunity. Ronglin darkly told them to clear a seat. Then he instantly became beautiful and invited Lan Jing to sit in front of him. Although Lan Jing had doubts, she still accepted the invitation. Not long after sitting down, Ronglin gently tapped Lan Jing's shoulder and introduced himself. But not only did he not get a response, he was also scolded and disapproved by Teacher Li. Finally close to mother, yet encountering obstacles at every turn. If you think that means there's no way, you're underestimating me. With a plop, a small note was thrown in front of Lan Jing. Lan Jing secretly glanced back. Seeing Ronglin's excited expression, she smiled slightly. Then she slowly picked up the note. Afterwards, under Ronglin's excited gaze, she swiftly threw it into the trash can. How painful is it to be hurt by the person you like the most? Seeing his eagerly anticipated note mercilessly thrown into the trash by Lan Jing, Ronglin felt dejected for the entire class. Tears hung in the corners of his eyes, unwilling to fall. Lan Jing looked back at the sorrowful-faced Ronglin. Then she deliberately stretched lazily to get Ronglin's attention. She still had homework to do. As expected, Rong Lin perked up instantly upon hearing this. He turned into a little puppy again. Wagging his tail, he leaned close to Lan Jing. "If you don't want to do homework, I can do it for you." Lan Jing knew that fishing couldn't be rushed. She pretended to be confused and asked again. Rong Lin patted his chest and guaranteed to do all of Lan Jing's future homework. Seeing Rong Lin agree so decisively, Lan Jing became more puzzled. She originally just wanted to figure out why Rong Lin was so close to her. Excited to be able to help his mother, Rong Lin wanted to take a step further and become friends with Lan Jing. To prevent his mother from becoming suspicious, Rong Lin explained, "Don't worry, I don't have any ulterior motives. I just want to be good friends." Looking at the excited Rong Lin, Lan Jing still felt an inexplicable sense of strangeness in her heart. But this guy was so pure, he wasn't unlikable. So Lan Jing gladly agreed to Rong Lin's request and handed over her homework notebook. Goal achieved. Rong Lin happily chatted with Lan Jing for a few days. Seeing that Rong Lin's surname was also Lan Jing became a bit curious. After all, Lan was quite a rare surname. Rong Lin answered without thinking, my surname is Lan. My whole family surname is Lan." Lan Jing was amused by this adorably silly answer. "You're quite interesting," she said, reaching out to ruffle Rong Lin's hair. This action directly caused Rong Lin's brain to short-circuit. He froze in place. Lan Jing smiled, waved goodbye to him, and turned to leave. After Lan Jing had completely left, Rong Lin finally reacted. His mother actually smiled at him. The heat rising from his head was like a volcanic eruption, but it was erupting little flowers. This song, once released, shocked the entire state and was hailed as a masterpiece. Everyone in the school was discussing the new song. Lan Jiaojiao was very unhappy when she saw this, because it was with this song that Lan Jing had slapped her in the face. At this moment, Li Jun suddenly asked Lan Jiaojiao's opinion on this song. Unable to answer, she put on a dreamy expression and loudly praised it. At this point, Lan Jiaojiao couldn't bring herself to criticize and had to go along with Li Jun's praise. But in her heart, she was still secretly mocking. She still didn't believe Lan Jing could create such a song. Just then, Lan Jiaojiao's thoughts were interrupted by a commotion. It turned out that Lan Jing's arrival had sparked a heated discussion. Unlike before, Lan Jing's reputation had instantly flipped. Everyone was praising her beauty. Some classmates even regarded her as the new goddess. A sense of crisis welled up in Lan Jiaojiao's heart. Although she wasn't afraid of losing the title of school beauty, she was still worried that Li Junyao might fall for Lan Jing. Saying this, she anxiously glanced at Li Junyao. Seeing Li Junyao calm expression, she came back to her senses and continued to maintain her image. She started praising Lan Jing. Unexpectedly, when Li Junyao heard Lan Jiaojiao's praise, he was quite displeased. "A bunch of shallow people. What's the use of a beautiful exterior if the inside is rotten?" These words happened to be overheard by Lan Jing. Lan Jing was very upset. She glared fiercely at Li Junyao and said in an unfriendly tone, "Excuse me, please move aside." Lan Jing's attitude made Lan Jiaojiao a bit scared. However, she still greeted her. Lan Jing ignored her. She spoke again to Li Junyao in an unfriendly tone. "A good dog doesn't block the road." This tense atmosphere attracted onlookers and sparked discussions. As the two were at a standstill, a hand suddenly pushed Li Junyao aside. Rong Lin interrupted the confrontation between the two, protecting Lan Jing as they left the campus. Seeing this scene, Li Junyao felt a strange feeling in his heart. Logically, he should be happy that Lan Jing was no longer clinging to him. But now he didn't feel that way at all. What is it like to have four older brothers? As the fifth child, Rong Lin had the least say in the family. Among all his brothers, he feared his second brother Lan Longzhu the most. Rong Lin led Lan Jing out of the school, wanting to secretly have lunch together with his mother. Unexpectedly, they ran into his second brother just outside the school gate. To prevent his second brother from stealing his mother, Rong Lin hurriedly pushed Lan Jing away from this unexpected encounter. Rong Zhua, on the other hand, looked completely at ease, watching his fleeing brother through the rearview mirror. To understand why Rong Zhua appeared here, we need to go back to yesterday. Rong Lin was helping Lan Jing with her homework when Rong Zhua happened to see it. Although Rong Lin tried hard to hide it, Rong Zhua still saw through it with his keen perception. To prevent Rong Lin from making mistakes, he followed. It definitely wasn't because he wanted to borrow Mother's hand. In the restaurant, Rong Lin confidently offered a treat, telling Lan Jing to order her whatever she wanted. But Lan Jing thought the prices were too high and returned the menu. Rong Lin realized his mother was worried he didn't have enough money and was reluctant. He quickly explained to Lan Jing that he had a lot of pocket money and told her not to worry about the cost. Lan Jing was very puzzled. Why was Rong Lin being so unconditionally nice to her when they had only met a few times? Rong Lin was overwhelmed with happiness, almost blurting out the truth. He caught himself at the last moment and changed his words. Because you're very pretty. This direct answer startled Lan Jing. She smiled and looked at Rong Lin. Then, pretending to be aloof, she said, "Don't fall in love with me. I'm not interested in little brothers like you." Hearing this, Rong Lin panicked. Afraid that his mother would misunderstand and stop paying attention to him, he hurriedly explained, "It's not that kind of like. It should be like a son's love for his mother." With a puff sound, Lan Jing, who had just taken a sip, instantly spat out the water in her mouth. But strangely, she found it very amusing. Then, as if petting a dog, she rubbed Rong Lin's head saying, "Good boy." All of this was seen by Rong Zhua nearby. How much strength does it take to snap a dinner knife with one hand? Rong Zhua had originally wanted to secretly check on his mother. No, it was to prevent his cute brother from making mistakes. Unexpectedly, not only did Rong Lin say something that was tantamount to exposing his identity, but he even got a head pat. Rong Zhua silently stepped forward and patted Rong Lin's shoulder. He definitely didn't appear because he was jealous. Definitely not. The happy Rong Lin turned his head to look. That smiling face instantly scared him, making him break out in a cold sweat. "Second brother, why are you here too?" Rong Zhua replied calmly, taking the opportunity to sit down. Then, pretending to be curious, he asked Rong Lin, "Is this your girlfriend?" Of course, Rong Zhua's inner feelings were completely different from his outward appearance. As he sat down, he was already secretly looking at his mother. The calmness while asking was just an act. In fact, his heart was already blooming with joy, happy beyond measure. Rong Lin looked at his pretending second brother with exasperation, but he still had to play along, replying unhappily, "She's my classmate." "Lan Jie, you're not allowed to bully him." But Rong Zhua completely ignored Rong Lin. With a beaming face, he extended his hand to introduce himself to Lan Jing. Lan Jing was confused by this sudden gesture, but she still politely shook hands in response. At this moment, Rong Zhua's heart had already flown to who knows where. His mind was filled with thoughts of his mother's fair and delicate little hand. But outwardly, he continued to exchange pleasantries without a trace, wanting to leave a good impression on Lan Jing. As for Rong Lin, seeing his second brother actually touch his mother's beautiful hand, he instantly lost his composure. He slammed the table as he stood up, angrily chasing away his second brother. Seeing this, Rong Zhua knew it wasn't good to stay any longer. He smiled, said goodbye, and turned to leave. Not far after leaving, Rong Zhua's expression instantly sank. "One day, I will have a meal alone with mother." Meanwhile, Lan Jing's meal wasn't going smoothly either, because she could always sense that Rong Zhua was occasionally staring at her with a strange and intense gaze. The firewall of a certain group was breached yet again. But strangely, the hacker who broke through the firewall not only didn't steal any secrets, but left behind a great gift. Lan Fu looked at the new game sent by the mysterious hacker, feeling a bit puzzled. Did they go through all this trouble just to let him play a game? After playing for half an hour, Lan Fu instantly understood the other party's intention. Such an imaginative and ingenious game, once released, would definitely cause a sensation. Although he didn't know who was helping the Lan family, given their current financial situation, they couldn't support the full development of the game. Just then, the secretary entered with good news. Suddenly, many people expressed interest in investing in the Lan Group. Lan Fu was shocked. If they could seize this opportunity, they could bring the Lan Group back to its peak. He made a sweeping gesture, determined to make this groundbreaking game a reality. The employees were also in a frenzy of excitement. The benefactor who saved the Lan Group and hid their merits was, of course, our Jing Jing. But at this moment, Lan Jing was being pressured by someone. Today, the sugar daddy hasn't given the child money yet. "I'm hungry. Lan Jing looked at the message from Qin Ying with exasperation. She then sent over a 0.01 yuan red packet. To her surprise, the red packet she just sent was instantly claimed. What surprised Lan Jing even more was that the usually stingy Qin actually wanted to treat her to a meal. Lan Jing looked at the message in disbelief. "You want to treat me to a meal?" "Are you possessed or something?" To salvage his image, Qining quickly replied with a message. Unexpectedly, due to being too hasty, he made a typo at a crucial information point, leaving Lan Jing completely confused. Qining quickly sent a message to salvage his mistake. Lan Jing continued to rant angrily. "You're not just a bit stingy. You're extremely stingy, and I don't like hanging out with miserly people. It's tiring and troublesome." Qining was shocked upon seeing the last message. At this moment, the word miserly felt like a mountain, crashing down on Qining word by word. The pain made him cry out for his mother. This man was actually very wealthy, but stingy to the extreme. Heartbroken by Lan Jing's words, Qining called for Qinmu. Qinmu, a super-intelligent robot, served as a butler, cleaner, driver, and more. He could be simply understood as Qin Ying's nanny. Qining weakly asked Qinmu, "Am I very stingy?" Qinmu instantly broke into a cold sweat. What did this mean? Was he being tested? But humans like to hear lies. "I'm a super-intelligent robot. I absolutely won't lie." Qinmu stuttered in response. "How could that be? Master, you're not stingy at all." Hearing this, Qining let out a sigh. He instantly calmed down, as if he had made some decision, and spoke. "Activate truth mode." With a series of beeps, Qin Ying's calmness vanished without a trace. Qinmu angrily pointed at Qin Ying with a patched-up toilet brush, venting years of pent-up frustration with his master. "You're the stingiest person I've ever seen, bar none." Then Qinmu began a frenzied rant mode. Although Qining knew he was a bit stingy, he never imagined that all his clothes were picked up from others' leftovers, and only his underwear was from a 9.9 yuan promotional sale. Qining angrily grabbed Qinmu's collar. Though he was stingy, it shouldn't have reached this extent, right? He demanded to know if there was anything else he didn't know about. Seeing Qinmu cowering in the corner, unwilling to answer, Qining stopped asking and kicked him flying out. Thinking of Lan Jing's words, Qining couldn't help but reflect on himself. Why was he so stingy? It seemed to be because he subconsciously remembered that his future wife would be a big spender. But Qinmu was right about one thing. He was now worth hundreds of billions, considered Jojo's richest man. He should have saved enough for his wife too. Thinking this, Qining made up his mind and shouted to Qinmu outside the door. "Throw away all my clothes, then go to the mall Ronghua often visits and buy the entire building. No, rent it. What does it feel like to be nouveau riche?" Although Qining was worth trillions, considered Jojo's richest man, his mentality now was no different from a nouveau riche. Having been accustomed to being stingy, he was somewhat excited to suddenly start spending lavishly. As soon as Qining entered the garage, 2 rows of attendants stood neatly, bowing and greeting him. Qinmu was also very happy that his master had changed his ways. At this time, Ronghua also called. Hearing about his friend's change, he decided to come and see the show. When Ronghua arrived, he was shocked. The garage that used to only have 2 old cars was now full of luxury vehicles. Ronghua incredulously patted Qin Ying's cheeks. "Are you having a fit? Or sleepwalking? Or maybe possessed?" Qining, with a casual face, very generously told Ronghua to pick one to drive away. Ronghua's eyes instantly lit up and he didn't hesitate. Qinmu was somewhat hesitant. Could such an expensive car be given away so easily? Unexpectedly, Qining showed no sign of pain, casually explaining that it was rented anyway. He'd have to return it after 2 months when the lease expired. As the sun was setting, Lan Jing had just left the school gates when she saw a row of luxury cars approaching. They stopped in front of her. Qining, wearing a brand new high-end suit, invited Lan Jing to dinner. Lan Jing smiled, looking at Qin Ying's outfit. "I say, this getup of yours, it's not stolen or rented from somewhere, is it?" Qining didn't expect to be seen through so quickly, but still stubbornly claimed he bought it himself. Lan Jing was just teasing. After getting in the car, she continued, "Don't tell me you've had a change of heart. Does that mean I don't have to pay back the dime I owe you every day?" Qining, holding a glass of red wine, slowly moved closer to Lan Jing. "Of course not," he said, continuing to lean in, finally whispering softly in her ear. The rest of the words were to be repaid. Upon hearing this, Lan Jing suddenly felt the urge to jump out of the car. This man, to prove he wasn't stingy, had actually rented over a dozen luxury sports cars just to show off. In the restaurant, Lan Jing was contentedly eating chips while Qining watched her with a blushing face. He hadn't expected this girl to be so cute when she was quiet. To achieve his goal with Lan Jing, Qining moved his seat closer to Lan Jing. "You really like snacks, huh?" Lan Jing took a bite of her chip and replied, "Snacks give me a sense of security." Unexpectedly, Qining immediately responded, "I can also provide a sense of security." The suddenness of this statement almost made Lan Jing spit her chips in his face. Lan Jing rested her chin on her hand. "You!" Taking advantage of Lan Jing's lowered guard, Qining quickly patted her soft head twice. Then he turned his head away, pretending nothing had happened. Lan Jing was stunned by this sudden action, momentarily at a loss for words, not knowing what to say. However, what surprised Lan Jing was that she didn't feel any aversion to this contact. For a moment, she even felt a strange sense of satisfaction. This made Lan Jing feel a bit odd. Soon after, the food arrived. Lan Jing looked at the table full of dishes, feeling a bit speechless. Qining passed a cut steak to Lan Jing. Sensing something strange, Lan Jing jokingly asked, "You're not going to make me pay the bill later, are you?" But Qining told her that he had already bought the restaurant. If Lan Jing wanted, he could give it to her anytime. This made Lan Jing feel even stranger. How could such a stingy person suddenly become so generous? What surprised Lan Jing even more was that Qining took the opportunity to ask if she had ever been in a relationship. Lan Jing's heart skipped a beat, instantly understanding Qin Ying's intentions. Finally, she wiped her mouth and replied, "Never been in one. I'm not considering a relationship right now. Maybe in the future." Qining knew Lan Jing was still young. He just wanted to see if there was a chance. Although his eyes dimmed, he didn't give up. He could only say in a slightly low voice, "Remember, consider me first in the future." Having an elder at home is like having a treasure. If it's a mischievous old man, it's even more precious. On the weekend, Lan Jing came to visit her grandfather. As soon as the old man saw Lan Jing, he immediately cried and whined, "My dear granddaughter, you've come at the right time. Your grandpa has been bullied." Lan Jing was very worried and asked concernedly who had bullied him. The old man indignantly pointed at his phone and shouted, "It's this bastard called Mu Zhijing." This left Lan Jing speechless. That's right, this Mu Zhijing was actually one of Jingjie's aliases. Lan Jing, bored at school, had played 5 consecutive games of Go, thoroughly defeating one person. She didn't expect it to be her own grandfather. Lan Jing pretended not to know, nervously asking how Grandpa was bullied by Mu Zhijing. It wasn't just bullying, it was a great humiliation. After saying this, he pulled Lan Jing out the door. He wanted to show her how to utterly defeat Mu Zhijing. When Lan Jing arrived at the place, she found that Grandpa Li and Grandpa Xiang were also there. All three were masters of the Jiuzhou Go Association and often played against each other. After greeting, the old man no longer paid attention to Lan Jing. He went to Grandpa Li's side and asked if Mu Zhijing was online. Seeing that Mu Zhijing wasn't online, he immediately cursed angrily. "Lan Jing what chet how pui." She looked around and found a hidden spot. Then she took out her phone and Mu Zhijing came online. The 3 old men were overjoyed, vowing to take revenge. Grandpa Li was also very excited, wanting to see how good this Mu Zhijing really was. Not long after, Grandpa Li's face was full of disbelief. He didn't expect to lose a game in just over 10 minutes. Seeing his old friend being constantly defeated, the old man mocked from the side, having already forgotten the purpose of coming. Grandpa Li didn't believe it and decided to play another round. 10 minutes later, he lost again, not even lasting 30 moves. Impossible one more time. After 60 minutes, Grandpa Li was holding his phone and crying. What kind of monster would bully an old man like me? Lan Jing felt sorry for Grandpa Li, silently apologizing to him. She had already tried her best to go easy on him. 3 veterans of the Go Association were utterly defeated by an unknown online player. Lan Jing played 3 games with Grandpa Li and didn't plan to continue. Just as she was about to say goodbye, she was stopped by a loud curse. "Little bastard, how dare you bully your ancestors?" Grandpa Xiang was furious, pointing to the sky with one hand. Seeing everyone's confused faces, Grandpa Xiang took out his phone and explained that he just received a message. Some Japanese people, those islanders living quite well, had set up a Go challenge on the street. A week had passed and no one could solve it. On the phone, a mustachioed man wearing a kimono was smugly boasting and constantly insulting them. This angered the old man and Grandpa Li greatly. They decided to go and solve the Go problem, teaching those Japanese a lesson. However, Lan Jing didn't go with them. She had other things to do. Soon after, a crowd gathered around the Go board, but no one dared to challenge. At this moment, the Grandpa team made a grand entrance. The mustachioed man saw someone coming but dismissed them because this Go problem was unsolvable. The two sat down, and the mustachioed man gestured for them to go first. The old man observed for a long time, then picked up a black stone, full of confidence. With a click, the stone was placed, no regrets. Seeing this, the mustachioed man smiled slyly. Without thinking, he immediately placed a stone in response. The old man's heart sank. It's over, he lost. Grandpa Lee also noticed the problem and angrily accused the mustachioed man of using a dead game to compete. The mustachioed man laughed wildly instead, mocking that they were indeed a bunch of stupid pigs from JoJo. It's so simple, yet they called it unsolvable. How laughable. The Grandpa team was unprepared and could only retreat amidst the laughter. Grandpa Xiang was furious, but had no idea how to solve it now. At this moment, Grandpa Lee suddenly thought that if they could get Majijing to come, they might be able to solve that damn Trap Dragon Go problem. Said and done. The Grandpa team decided to post a search notice online. And what was our sister Jing doing? Lan Jing stood in front of the wardrobe. Inside were various clothes, all filled with her disguises. After choosing for a long time, Lan Jing tied on a wig, changed into new clothes. A brand new character was ready. A small sachet, priced at tens of millions, yet still hard to obtain for thousands. The Forgetful Worry Sachet helps people forget their worries and dispel sorrows. Unexpectedly, someone was selling fakes on the street. Yue, look, someone is selling Forgetful Worry Sachets. The purple-haired girl, with an expression of watching a show, reminded the pink-haired girl called Yue. Sun Yue was also quite rude, grabbing a sachet and throwing it at the girl at the stall. Have you no shame? How dare you counterfeit my sister's Forgetful Worry sachet? You think embroidering Forgetful Worry on it makes it a real Forgetful Worry sachet. The girl looked up, black hair, broken pupils, wearing a black dress, gradient purple hair tips draped over her front shoulders, wearing a Roland cloak, exuding mystery. This person was none other than our Jin Jin, your sister's Forgetful Worry sachet. Jin Yue, seeing Lan Jin's haughty attitude, became even more displeased. That's right, the Forgetful Worry sachet was invented and formulated by my sister. Your counterfeit can't even copy it properly. It's simply garbage. Lan Jin was also irritated by the sudden insults. Her mood soured. MMP, I've actually been impersonated. I want to see who dares to impersonate me without fearing death. Although very displeased, Lan Jing's expression remained calm. She asked Jin Yue what her sister's name was. Jin Yue, full of pride, said, "Listen well. My sister's name is Jun Muqin." Lan Jing felt the name was somewhat familiar. Jun Muqin, our family's mortal enemy, the eldest daughter of the Jun family. Just then, an auntie interrupted the confrontation between the two, asking about the price of the sachet. Jin Yue kindly reminded her that to buy the real thing, she'd have to go to the auction. The auction prices were too high. The auntie couldn't afford it at all. Because smelling Lan Jing's sachet made people feel very comfortable, she wanted to buy it for her child to try. Jin Yue watched the auntie's figure and also turned to leave. Planning to go to the park to see Rong Lin playing Go, she happened to see the sachet in the auntie's hand. She hurriedly ran to Lan Jing's stall and asked about the price. Seeing it was her own little Lozi, she didn't set a price, just told him to be careful. Ronglin was a bit confused. How could a real Forgetful Worry sachet be sold at a roadside stall? But the situation was urgent now, so he couldn't worry about that. The Trap Dragon Go problem was unsolvable for the world. Even 3 masters from the Go Association were defeated. Lan Jing watched Ronglin run off after paying and smiled slightly. After making some extra money, it was time to teach those islanders a lesson. The park was packed with people. Hearing someone was going to challenge the Trap Dragon Go problem, they all came to watch. Rongjua had just arrived when he saw his mother's imposing figure. Lan Jing wore a blue hat, a jacket tied around her waist, white shirt, and shorts. All clothes changed, clearly dressed as Majijing. But only 2 strands of gradient purple-dyed hair tips still floated on her chest. The mustached man, seeing that the newcomer was a high school girl who hadn't even grown hair, laughed even more arrogantly. Pointing at Lan Jing, he mocked, "If you can solve this Go problem, I'll take off my pants and dance right here." Ha 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 ha. Lan Jing couldn't be bothered with these people. "If I solve this Go problem, you all go back to where you came from." After saying that, she didn't waste words with him and prepared to start the game. But she was interrupted by a clear female voice. Let me try this so-called trap dragon go problem. A red-eyed girl appeared behind Lan Jing. Her wine-red hair paired with a white dress made her look both noble and elegant. The onlookers were amazed. They didn't expect the Jin family's young lady to come challenge the game. And she even had a handsome escort. Jin Muqin looked back curiously. Seeing Rongjua smiling towards her direction, she couldn't help but blush slightly. Isn't that the surgical genius? Did he come specifically to see me? She posed facing Rongjua, secretly praising her own charm. Lan Jing turned around just in time to see Jin Muqin putting on airs. She was immediately confused, full of question marks. But how could Rongjua possibly be looking at Jin Muqin? Clever viewers might have already guessed. At this moment, Rongjua was very displeased inside. This eyesore of a woman actually blocking the view of his esteemed mother, hindering him from seeing his mother's cool figure. The Go problem had remained unsolved for days. The small island nation even mocked that there was no one capable in the 9 provinces. 2 young girls suddenly appeared to solve it. One of them was the Jin family's young lady, Jin Muqin, and the other was the Demon King Jing. Our Jing sister Jin Muqin approached Lan Jing. Can you solve this Go problem too? Why don't you go first? This childish Go problem, Lan Jing hadn't even taken it seriously. When asked about the forgetful worry sachet, Jin Muqin was startled to hear Lan Jing suddenly mention it. The forgetful worry sachet had disappeared for 3 years. It certainly wasn't the real forgetful worry. But Jin Muqin still pretended to be strong and said yes, she was forgetful worry. At this time, the Japanese man with a mustache interrupted their argument with mockery. It seems the 9 provinces really have no one capable. Only little girls are coming. The mustached man provoked them. The two stopped arguing. Jin Muqin asked Lan Jing who should go up first to try. The surrounding crowd urged Jin Muqin to go first. Although they knew Demon King Jing was good at math, they weren't sure about her Go skills. Who knew if she was just here to show off? Hearing this, Jin Muqin decided to go solve it first. At this point, Lan Jing had already picked up a black stone. All this nonsense, it's just child's play. Look how capable you think you are. Saying this, she flicked her wrist and shot the black stone onto the board. It landed 2 points below the center star. One move decided everything. The Grandpa team saw it and immediately understood. They were amazed. It solved, really solved. Who would have thought it could be played here? This move seems dead, but is actually alive. What a brilliant move. The onlookers were excited. The humiliation and mockery they had endured were finally washed away. But some people were not happy. Rongjua was full of dark lines, because more and more people were competing for his mother's attention. Except for Rongjua, the mustached man angrily smashed the stone table. He shouted, "Impossible! How could the stupid pigs from the 9 provinces solve this Go problem? You like setting up problems, don't you?" Lan Jing picked up a Go stone. Her cold voice gradually became deep. "Today, let me show you the profound and extensive 9 provinces Go. If you can't solve it, crawl away from here." The Japanese set up a Go problem, repeatedly mocking and provoking. They were finally defeated by a mysterious girl with 1 move, easily winning. Seeing the mustached man still unconvinced, Lan Jing decided to completely shatter his pitiful confidence. "I'll set up a problem. If you can't solve it, crawl away from here." As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd was excited. This frustration had been pent up for too long. Everyone wanted to see the Japanese lose face. They all cheered for Demon King Jing. Under pressure, the mustached man agreed to the proposal to save face. But Lan Jing suddenly turned around and asked the Jin young lady to set up the problem. This action scared Jin Muqin so much that she broke out in a cold sweat. Although she could solve the problem, setting up a Go position was on a completely different level. She praised Lan Jing while skillfully declining the proposal. Lan Jing didn't press further and began to set up the Go position. After a while, Lan Jing raised her hand to signal it was ready. "Please," she said, but the mustached man remained silent. He clenched his fists and leaned closer to look. He was so shocked he could barely speak. "Davis, could it be the legendary 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation?" The onlookers were also impressed without fully understanding. Though they didn't quite get it, the name sounded so powerful that it must be amazing. They started cheering for victory. Seeing the Go position Lan Jing had set up, the mustached man's face turned ashen. The legendary 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation. This go position was extremely dominating, flowing endlessly, unpredictable. No matter where one moved, it was a dead end. Seeing the situation turn unfavorable, the mustache man's lackey turned the tables, saying Lan Jing had set up an unsolvable position, just randomly naming it to target them. If this position can be solved, I'll live stream doing a handstand while having diarrhea. Facing the shameless islanders, Lan Jing directly used their own methods against them. She mocked them back using the mustached man's taunting words. Can't solve it? Can't even solve such a simple go position. Clearly just a bunch of stupid island pigs. Facing the islanders' repeated humiliation, Demon King not only gave them a taste of their own medicine, but also broke the mustached man's position. She even set up the legendary 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation for the islanders to solve. The mustached man and his lackey were still stubbornly in denial. They shouted that the position Lan Jing set up just borrowed the fame of the 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation, but in reality, it was just an unsolvable dead position. Lan Jing directly used the mustache man's previous mocking words and threw them back at them. This cool way of handling things made the crowd cheer, all rooting for Demon King Jing. At this moment, Lan Jing suddenly turned to look at Jin Muqin, smiling and saying, "What about Miss Jin? Can Miss Jin solve it?" Jin Muqin was very embarrassed, not confident in solving it. She could only smile and pretend to be strong, saying, "It's my first time seeing the 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation. I'm not sure if I can solve it." But in her heart, she was secretly angry, not understanding why Demon King Jing kept challenging her. Lan Jing smiled slightly and didn't press her further. She turned to face those islanders. No solution? A certain death position? Then open your eyes wide and watch carefully. Lan Jing's expression changed as she held a white stone and pressed it towards the board. Like a dragon entering the sea, soaring freely into the sky, Lan Jing shouted, "Break!" As the white stone landed on the board, it was as if a blue dragon appeared, turning the tide, instantly reversing the situation. The 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation was broken. The mustache man was shocked, falling to the ground in fear. He never imagined a 17 or 18-year-old girl could break such an extraordinary formation. Lan Jing crossed her arms, looking self-satisfied. She said calmly, "How about that? Are you convinced now?" In fact, Lan Jing had never taken them seriously. That's why she first went to sell sachets. That's why she occasionally challenged Jin Muqin. Because in her view, these islanders were like mantises trying to stop a chariot or foam floating on a tree. They were just clueless clowns. The legendary 9 bends of the Yellow River Formation reappeared, only to be broken by an astonishing move. Lan Jing looked down at the mustache man who had collapsed in fear on the ground. Seeing the islanders defeated, Old Man Lan was very happy. He wanted to take this cool little girl home. Grandpa Xiang, however, had a thoughtful look. Demon King Jing excitedly shouted to Lan Jing, "That girl who broke the formation, are you Mu Zhijing?" This question once again stirred the crowd. They had thought Mu Zhijing wouldn't dare to accept the challenge, but it turned out Demon King Jing was Mu Zhijing. They all started praising Lan Jing. Grandpa Xiang and Grandpa Li were extremely excited, wanting to recruit Lan Jing. The people who came to watch at the Go Association also realized, and they all crowded around asking for autographs and photos. Miss Jun was suddenly pushed away by the enthusiastic crowd. Looking back at Lan Jing, she felt very unhappy. Indeed, her mother had chosen wisely. She had always been the center of attention since childhood. When had she ever experienced such cold treatment? Demon King Jing, I'll remember you. Old Man Lan wasn't as resentful. He stared intently at Lan Jing, because looking at her always gave him a familiar feeling, as if he had seen her somewhere before. That figure looked more and more familiar, but our old playful man still hadn't realized that Demon King Jing was Lan Jing. After returning home, Old Man Lan started to let loose, happily beaming with joy. At this moment, Butler Fu appeared, telling him that Mu Zhijing had come to visit and was waiting outside. Old Man Lan was puzzled. Mu Zhijing, why would she come to visit a defeated opponent? Butler Fu explained with exasperation. Don't you think Miss Mu Zhijing looks very similar to the young miss? And she even said you're her grandfather. Is there a possibility? It's impossible, absolutely impossible. Before he could finish, he was loudly interrupted. Old Man Lan pushed his hand away. Shinqing was very confident. As he walked out the door, he confidently and proudly called out, "Xiao Jing, don't be silly. How could you possibly be Mu Zhijing? Besides, my precious granddaughter will always only be Xiao Jing." And all these words were heard by Lan Jing. What does it feel like to not be believed? Lan Jing told her grandfather that she was Mu Zhijing, but old man Lan simply didn't believe it. Helpless, Lan Jing decided to directly prove her identity with facts. Lan Jing deliberately said she was leaving. Seeing this, old man Lan quickly grabbed Mu Zhijing, wanting to invite her for a meal. Although he had no intention of accepting her as his granddaughter, he came up with a brilliant plan. This was a great opportunity to show off to the other two old men. Then, he quietly asked Butler Fu to tell Old Man Li and Old Man Xiang that Mu Zhijing wanted to be his granddaughter. In the restaurant, Old Man Lan saw that Mu Zhijing and his precious granddaughter had the same taste. He not only didn't have any suspicions, but was also happy to use this to get closer to her. Suddenly, a series of hurried footsteps were heard. Grandpa Xiang and Grandpa Li burst through the door, wielding weapons, shouting that they were here to eliminate evil for the people. In no time, they had Old Man Lan subdued on the ground. Lan Jing, seeing this, took off her mask and sighed. She stepped forward to stop the three rowdy old men. Then, amidst their shocked faces, she removed her disguise, revealing her true identity. "It's me, young miss." The group of grandfathers were so shocked they turned to stone, completely falling apart. After the grandfathers recovered from their shock, they all gathered around Lan Jing to confirm if what she said was true. Meanwhile, Li Junyao was queuing up to buy Demon King Jing's study guide when his grandfather suddenly sent him a message. Seeing the message, Li Junyao was speechless. His grandfather actually told him that Demon King Jing was that Lan Jing. How could it be Lan the Clown? Li Junyao quickly typed a reply. "Grandpa, don't believe rumors. Don't spread rumors. Don't be fooled by Lan the Clown. If her grades could make her Demon King Jing, then I would be the next national top scorer." Just then, a shout interrupted Li Junyao. Li Junyao quickly rushed to the bookshelf. Demon King Jing's signed study guides were sold out. He couldn't accept that after waiting for so long, he couldn't even get one signed book from his idol. This woman was up to no good again. Ever since Lan Jin's transformation, more and more people began to support her. This made Tang Yu very unhappy. At first, she was just her follower, but now she had become a goddess in many people's hearts. Zhang Man was also constantly fanning the flames on the side. "That bitch Lan really needs to be taught a lesson. Last time, she even caused you to be punished by your family. If we don't teach her a lesson, she'll continue to be disrespectful." Tang Yu glared at Lan Jing's back with a gloomy expression. "Just you wait, I won't let you off easy." After hearing the instigation, Tang Yu had already lost her reason, forgetting how terrifying our sister Jing could be. The rankings were out less than a day after the monthly exam ended. Rong Lin kept searching for his mother's name, but Lan Jing's score left Rong Lin dumbfounded. It was only 25 points. On the way home, Rong Lin kept complaining to Lan Jing. He had told his mother to choose B for all answers. How could she only get 25 points? If she had chosen all B, she should have gotten at least 100 points. Lan Jing didn't care at all, because she had set this paper herself. If it wasn't for the fact that she couldn't submit a blank paper, she wouldn't even bother filling in C. Rong Lin was helpless about his mother's carefree attitude. But what could he do? He could only indulge her. Then Rong Lin proudly said he ranked second in the grade. He excitedly moved closer to his mother, wanting to ask for a pat on the head. Lan Jing saw through Rong Lin's little trick. Wanting to tease him, she said, "It's not first place. What's there to be proud of?" Rong Lin instantly deflated. He complained that Li Junyao only scored 5 points more than me. I'll surpass him sooner or later. Just then, someone suddenly called out to them. A thug wearing a big gold chain appeared. This person was one of Tang Yu's lackeys. Seeing the thug causing trouble, Rong Lin quickly shielded Lan Jing behind him. But Lan Jing stepped past Rong Lin. She excitedly struck a fighting pose. It had been a long time since she had exercised, and now someone had conveniently shown up. It was a good chance to practice her fists. Normal people would be terrified when confronted by thugs, let alone an 18-year-old girl. But the girl in front of them wasn't afraid at all. Instead, she excitedly struck a pose, ready for a big fight. The battle was about to begin when suddenly a voice rang out. "What kind of man bullies women?" A large hand tightly gripped the thug's wrist. The newcomer had short wine-red hair. It was Qining. He then punched the thug in the stomach, sending him flying. Although fighting violence with violence is not advisable, if I don't use my fists, I really can't think of any other way to communicate with idiots. Now scram. The high school thugs had seen Nana before, but this street thug was so scared by Qining that he didn't dare to breathe. Lan Jin's dream of practicing her fists was shattered. She was very unhappy and asked Qining why he was here. Qining didn't answer. Instead, he teased Lan Jing. What's wrong? Not happy to see me? Lan Jing turned her head away, not wanting to pay much attention to this man. But she had to admit, when it came to showing off, this man was indeed very good at it. Ronglin was quite surprised. He didn't expect his mother to know brothering. Qining was very familiar with the Lan brothers. Seeing such a big light bulb here interfering with him, he directly picked up Ronglin and told Qinmu to drag him away. Don't touch him, Lan Jing interrupted Qining. This action made Ronglin's heart bloom with joy. Mother was actually protecting him. He felt like the happiest child in the world. Ronglin was elated. He eagerly wanted to walk Lan Jing home, but he was directly rejected. Lan Jing's words were like a sharp sword, piercing his heart and leaving him cold. With no hope of being alone with Lan Jing, the two started arguing like little kids. You're quite arrogant, kid. Want to compete? Let's compete then. Lan Jing was exasperated. She actually had expectations for two elementary school kids arguing. She was too naive. The genius champion of the math competition only scored 25 points in the monthly mock exam. Upon learning Lan Jing's score, the Shin mother and daughter were overjoyed. Lan Jiaojiao and her cousin mocked Lan Jing in a language she couldn't understand. Suddenly, the door was pushed open. Seeing Lan Jing return, Lan Jiaojiao hurriedly stood up to greet her, actually intending to show off her French. The cousin, with legs crossed, sneered in French. Lan Jing couldn't understand, naturally finding it annoying. Lan Jing's expression darkened. What did you say? Thinking Lan Jing didn't understand, Lan Jiaojiao quickly explained, Sister, don't misunderstand. Cousin is praising you. She offered Lan Jing cake to distract her, but Lan Jing firmly refused. No need. I'm afraid I'll be scared. This left Lan Jiaojiao not knowing what to say. She could only try to get close to Lan Jing. You're my sister. How could I possibly harm you? But Lan Jing showed no mercy, stating directly that they weren't real sisters. Lan Jing's attitude upset the cousin, who stood up for Lan Jiaojiao and mocked Lan Jing. Lan Jing calmly ate her chips. Just then the phone rang. Xin Zhao's birthday was tomorrow. He invited Lan Jing to his birthday party. After getting a response, Xin Zhao exchanged pleasantries and was about to hang up. Unexpectedly, he received a long reply, but he couldn't understand a word of what Sister Jing said. This startled the two nearby, because Lan Jing was speaking French. I'm now facing anhydrous copper sulfate and the 51st element of the periodic table. Oh, and besides French, there's another elegant language called national treasure. The general meaning is calling these two idiots and morons. Although the cousin understood French, she couldn't comprehend a word of what Lan Jing said. After Lan Jiaojiao's explanation, the cousin's face turned red with anger. It wasn't until Lan Jing left, after that long reaction time, that they realized Lan Jing could actually speak French. If one day your most admired idol bullied your friend, what would you do? Lan Jing was invited to Yunxi Palace to attend Xin Zhao's birthday party, but was stopped outside by the waiter. Fortunately, Xin Zhao arrived in time to resolve the misunderstanding. Lan Jing also understood others' work and didn't mind much. But what he didn't expect was to be mocked while walking on the road. A blonde woman coming out of Yunxi Palace bumped into Lan Jing. Not only did she not apologize, but she even frowned and mocked Lan Jing. This angered Xin Zhao, who turned back to scold the blonde woman. But the blonde woman's face stunned him. This person was actually his idol, the billiards queen Ning Dai. Ning Dai was used to such expressions. She impatiently said, "How annoying. Say it. What do you want? An autograph or a photo?" This choice was very painful for Xin Zhao. On one side was his idol, on the other was his friend. You bump into my friend, please apologize to him first. Xin Zhao's action was unexpected to Ning Dai. But what surprised her even more was Xin Zhao's next sentence. Then I'll consider whether to ask for your autograph or not. Looking at Xin Zhao's righteous expression, Ning Dai couldn't believe there was such an oddball in the world. She raised her hand to call a waiter, wanting to kick Lan Jing and Xin Zhao out. However, those who could enter Yunxi Palace were all members, not someone a mere waiter could expel. Seeing the waiter not moving, Ning Dai shouted at him, "Either you drive them away, or I'll immediately cancel my Supreme VIP membership here." The waiter was caught in the middle at a loss for what to do. He could only carefully inquire about Shun Xiao's membership level. Upon learning that Shun Xiao was only a silver member, Ning Dai's expression became even more disdainful. She kept mocking Shun Xiao. A mere silver member dares to act recklessly here. Who gave you the courage? This woman was too arrogant. Just because of her high membership level, she wanted to drive others away. Shun Xiao despised people like this the most. It's just a supreme VIP card. What's there to be so proud of? I even have a 7-color diamond card. Hearing this, Ning Dai's expression became even more disbelieving. What big talk? There are only 2 diamond cards in the world. Are you trying to make me laugh to death so you can inherit my supreme card? Just as the two were arguing, Rong Jun and Rong Li happened to appear, attracted by the noise. They discovered that Mother had also come to Yunshi Palace. Rong Jun was very excited, but Rong Li's face was gloomy. He quickly stepped forward and grabbed the waiter's collar. His eyes were bloodshot with fury. You dare to kick them out? You dare to kick him out, I'll kick you out. Seeing this, Rong Jun hurriedly came forward to separate the two. Rong Li came to his senses and coldly looked at Ning Dai. And who are you supposed to be? Kicking people out as you please. Who do you think you are? Hearing Rong Li's words, Ning Dai finally snapped out of that terrifying gaze. Regaining her confidence, she introduced her identity. When she thought Rong Li would be impressed by her status like others, oh, Ning Dai, right? I remember now. Aren't you the one desperately trying to be Bei Gong, Eating's mistress? Rong Li's words left her so embarrassed she couldn't speak, not knowing what to do. At this moment, Bei Gong Eating walked over. Ning Dai, seeing her support arrive, joyfully threw herself into his arms. With Bei Gong Eating's backing, she asked the waiter to drive Lan Jing away. The situation became balanced again. The waiter was caught in a dilemma. Lan Jing wasn't in a hurry. She wanted to see if Yunshi Palace would really kick people out. Hurry up, are you going to kick us out or not? The battlefield was ignited again by Lan Jing's words. Ning Dai was arguing to drive Lan Jing away, while Rong Li was protecting Mother at every turn. The arguing pair scared the waiter, who was sweating profusely and dared not say a word. If you ask why our sister Jing was so confident, it's of course because she possessed the extremely precious 7-color diamond card. A group of men arguing endlessly over 2 women. It turned out the blonde woman disliked Lan Jing and wanted to drive her away because of her ordinary attire. Lan Jing crossed her arms and coldly spoke. Hurry up, are you going to kick us out or not? Rong Jun, worried about Mother, spoke up to comfort her. But Lan Jing didn't understand why they were helping her. She didn't even know them. After an explanation, she learned that these two were Rong Lin's older brothers. Rong Jun formally introduced himself to Lan Jing. Lan Jing was also happy to meet her little puppy's family. Big brother Rong Zheng was already extremely excited inside. He never expected to be able to touch Mother's little hand at Yunshi Palace. Nearby, Bei Gong Eating took notice of Lan Jing's appearance. He had some dirty thoughts about taking advantage of her later that night. Lan Jing also smiled and greeted him. Hello, beautiful. How should I address you? Seeing this, Ning Dai instead complained about Lan Jing. You little slut, how dare you try to seduce my man? You country bumpkin, just get lost quickly. Don't dirty my eyes. Lan Jing, having been insulted repeatedly, was very angry. She didn't put up with it anymore and directly took out that 7-color diamond card. Everyone was shocked. They couldn't believe that the only diamond card in the world besides the owner's was actually in the possession of an unremarkable high school girl. Ning Dai still refused to believe the reality before her eyes. She accused Lan Jing of presenting a fake card, claiming it was a prop deliberately brought to use at Yunshi Palace. Lan Jing didn't care about Ning Dai's accusations. She handed the diamond card to the waiter, saying, "What's real is real. No need to say more. Facts will prove everything." The waiter tremblingly took the card to verify it. Ning Dai remained extremely arrogant. She simply didn't believe it. She couldn't accept that Lan Jing, dressed in cheap clothes, could be the owner of the 7-color diamond card. Even if the card was real, it must have been stolen. At this moment, the waiter let out a cry of surprise. He looked at the login information on the computer in disbelief. The photo was indeed of Lan Jing from middle school, and the card's ID was your dad. This young girl actually possessed the world's most precious 7-color diamond card. At Yunshi Palace, seeing this card was like seeing the emperor. Every word spoken by the cardholder was like an imperial edict. The blonde woman Ning Dai couldn't believe that an 18-year-old, ordinarily dressed high school girl would possess a diamond card. But reality slapped her hard in the face. Lan Jing calmly said, "Indeed, I normally wouldn't have one. After all, people were begging me to accept it." Lan Jing's expression left Ning Dai with mixed feelings. The waiter instantly knew where his loyalty should lie, no longer caught in a dilemma. He happily asked Lan Jing if she needed to use the exclusive room. Lan Jing looked at Ning Dai and Bei Gong eating. She wasn't interested in the exclusive room. The only thing that needed to be resolved now was these two troublemakers. Seeing this, the waiter turned around with a firm attitude, asking Bei Gong and Ning Dai to leave. Ning Dai was very dissatisfied, saying she was a supreme VIP and Bei Gong was one of the shareholders. She pointed her finger at Lan Jing, accusing her of using dirty methods to obtain the 7-color diamond card. Hearing this, Rongli immediately rushed out. "What did you say? Watch your mouth. If you weren't a woman, I would have punched you already." At this time, Bei Gong eating stepped forward, threatening a woman. "What's so great about that? If you have the guts, let your people win in the billiards tournament every day." "Oh wait, I almost forgot. The billiards expert you hired is still lying in a hospital, right? I'm really sorry. It looks like that piece of land is definitely mine." Rongli was so choked up he couldn't speak. After saying this, Bei Gong took the initiative to leave with Ning Dai. As Bei Gong passed by Lan Jing, his expression turned gloomy. Who knows what he was thinking? With the matter resolved, Lan Jing also lost interest in attending the birthday party. She asked the waiter to process a supreme card to give to Xin Xiao as a birthday gift. This action made Rong Zheng and Rong Li extremely envious. Their burning gazes were too much for Lan Jing to handle. But Lan Jing didn't detect any malice. Instead, it felt like the two were protecting and caring for her. That feeling was just like they were protecting their own family member. A single glance from the young girl made the two extremely excited. Was it because the girl was as beautiful as a heavenly fairy? That was certainly part of the reason. But more importantly, it was because they were both mother-doting maniacs. And the young girl looking at them was none other than their beloved mother. Lan Jing smiled and thanked the two brothers. Seeing their mother smile, Rong Zheng and Rong Li were so excited they almost ascended to heaven. Their gestures were exaggerated as they tried their best to show off. They were also overjoyed at being able to talk to their mother. Lan Jing looked at the two acting strangely, and that odd feeling in her heart grew stronger. To change the subject, Lan Jing asked Rong Li about what the purple-haired man had said earlier regarding the billiards expert. Hearing this question, Rong Li instantly lost his composure. He cursed the purple-haired man, blaming that bastard for being extremely vicious and despicable. It turned out they had agreed to determine the ownership of a piece of land through a billiards match. But the purple-haired man had sent the person Rong Li hired to the hospital. Thinking about this, Rong Li anxiously started biting his nails. Rong Zheng tried to comfort his fourth brother, telling him to relax. Lan Jing also noticed that Rong Li's state wasn't right. He should be suffering from severe insomnia. Combined with his previous series of agitated reactions, Lan Jing deduced that Rong Li might have bipolar disorder. It seems that Rong Zheng's previous purchase of the worry-dispelling sachet was meant for Rong Li. With the sachet, as long as he keeps it with him at all times, it should take effect soon. There shouldn't be any major issues. Lan Jing continued to ask about the billiards match, wanting to help them. Mere billiards was no challenge for our Jing Jing. "How about this? I'll play tomorrow. If I win, give me 200,000. If I lose, I won't take a penny." Although they doubted whether their mother could play billiards, as long as she was happy, it didn't matter even if they lost. A mere piece of land was nothing compared to their mother. They would spoil her no matter what. Just a phone number made this man feel incredibly fortunate. Rong Zheng took the opportunity to add Lan Jing on WeChat. This made Rong Li beside him extremely envious. He also took out his phone to ask to add their mother, but was promptly rejected by Lan Jing. Rong Li thought their mother was looking down on him and instantly deflated. After the commotion at the hotel ended, Lan Jing left by car. The one who came to pick her up was none other than Qining. Lan Jing was surprised, not expecting Ko Shun to have changed cars again. Was it because she had said earlier that she didn't like to play with stingy people? In the blink of an eye, they arrived at a night market food stall. Who could resist fresh and delicious crayfish? Qining brought peeled crayfish meat to Lan Jing's mouth. Seeing Lan Jing shyly eat it, he looked completely satisfied. However, this wonderful time didn't last long. Rong was suddenly sent a message saying that an emergency had occurred, but they couldn't let Lan Jing know. Qining felt a bit guilty and secretly glanced at Lan Jing, quickly asking what had happened. Ronghua explained that it was about the piano piece Lan Jing had composed earlier. Before he could rearrange and release it, someone had uploaded a demo. People online started accusing Lan Jing of plagiarism. It turned out to be a plagiarism dog, but calling themselves LJ was probably to avoid being doxxed using their real name. Ronghua didn't want to cause trouble for their mother, so he immediately tried to negotiate with the other team to resolve the issue. But they turned the tables on him. They leaked chat records claiming Ronghua tried to bribe them. The whole incident escalated again, reaching a new peak. When the second brother found out about this, Ronghua was so angry he almost cut Ronghua to pieces. I don't care how you resolve it. The bottom line is, we can't let mother's reputation be tarnished in any way. Ronghua had no choice but to beg for help. He urgently called on the great lawyer to save the day. Qining was about to come. Ronghua immediately sent the demo video. LG was accused of plagiarizing singer Yang Qian's work through audio comparison. The release date was April 3rd, 2022. Qining furrowed his brows. This release date was exactly the day he first met Lan Jing in the piano room. The young girl created an amazing masterpiece, yet was accused of plagiarism. The internet was flooded with insults, calls to punish the plagiarist, and support for the original creator. As soon as Lan Jing returned home, she was met with a barrage of insults. How dare you come back, you plagiarist? You've almost ruined my idol's life. Lan Jiaojiao's cousin pointed at Lan Jing and cursed loudly. Lan Jiaojiao, as usual, pretended to be the good person and tried to intervene. Lan Jing was completely confused, unaware of what had happened online. The cousin thought Lan Jing was deliberately playing dumb, which made her even angrier. If Jiao Jiao hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that LJ was you. Ronghua is even defending you. Yet here you are, acting like a coward. Sister, I know you were just momentarily vain, Lan Jiaojiao chimed in, her words laced with hidden barbs. When Lan Fu arrived, she became even more outrageous, suggesting Lan Jing should apologize online and claiming it might affect Lan Fu's business. This statement killed two birds with one stone, not only trapping Lan Jing, but also dragging Lan Fu into the mess. Lan Jing looked at the honey-tongued Lan Jiaojiao with disdain. Lan Jiaojiao was hypocritical, pretending to defend Lan Jing, while secretly hoping her father would kick her out of the Lan family. When Lan Fu learned about the situation, he was furious. You little brat, you learned nothing good, but you learned to plagiarize? I didn't plagiarize. Lan Jing stood her ground firmly, but Lan Fu didn't believe her, thinking his daughter was just being stubborn. Shen Rong and Lan Jiaojiao pretended to defend Lan Jing while holding Lan Fu back, but the joy in their eyes was hard to conceal. Lan Jing felt awful. After this incident, Ronghua not only never doubted her, but also defended her online. Yet her own family hadn't even tried to understand the truth. As Lan Jing thought about this, she didn't want to say anything more and turned to go upstairs. Watching Lan Jing's retreating figure, Lan Fu sighed. He worried that if news of Lan Jing being LJ spread, she wouldn't be able to handle the online bullying. The Shen mother and daughter exchanged smiles. They solemnly promised Lan Fu, "We definitely won't reveal Xiao Jing's identity. Everyone was thinking of ways to harm my sister Jing." In the girls' bathroom at B Middle School, Tang Yu was secretly making a phone call. Last time, she sent someone to teach Lan Jing a lesson. They ended up in the hospital instead. As Tang Yu was thinking of how to get back at Lan Jing, a voice from outside suddenly caught her interest. Lan Jiaojiao found an opportunity to pretend to make a call, spreading rumors about LJ's true identity. Tang Yu was shocked. The LJ causing such a stir online was actually Lan Jing. So LJ is that bitch. This time I'll make sure you're ruined and feel what it's like to be attacked from all sides. Soon, this explosive news spread throughout the school. As soon as the bell rang, groups of students rushed to Lan Jing's classroom. But when they arrived, they found out that Lan Jing had already left school. Meanwhile, Lan Jing was sitting in the Lan brothers' car. Rong Jun and Rong Li, worried that Lan Jing might be affected by the online situation, kept trying to comfort her. They even brought her favorite chips and soda. Lan Jing didn't care about those things at all. She asked about the location of the pool tournament. Rong Jun explained that it was on a luxury cruise ship. This cruise ship was full of big shots, all prominent figures. It didn't take long before they arrived at the yacht. Ning Dai, wearing a red dress, was being interviewed by reporters. Rongli felt even worse. Not only were there reporters here, but there was also a live broadcast set up. When the competition starts, Mother will face tough questions from reporters and even netizens. If it's discovered that Mother is LJ, the situation will become even worse. Just then, the second brother Rong Zhua also rushed over. Rongli eagerly asked Lan Jing for her contact information, covering for his brothers. Rong Jin asked about the progress of the plagiarism incident. Rong Zhua explained that although Uncle Ing was already recovering the video, the chances weren't high, and the pianist at that time seemed to have been bribed. The situation didn't look good. Rong Jun's face darkened. He said if this isn't handled well, then the third brother can be considered finished. Rong Zhua took out a scalpel and quietly agreed. At this moment, Rong Hua, sitting at home, suddenly sneezed. He thought it was that female celebrity who falsely accused him, cursing him again. She was a highly skilled pool queen, yet she had to compete against an 18-year-old high school girl. The bigwigs in the audience were furious when they heard the news. This pool match would determine the development rights of a piece of land. Moreover, she had bet most of her fortune on this match. Now, with only 10 minutes left before the match starts, it's impossible to find another pool expert in such a short time. But Lan Jing still complained that the time was too long and yawned out of boredom. The long wait finally ended. Lan Jing stood up amidst the audience's fury and went on stage. The two stood in position. Lan Jing showed no reaction to Ning Dai's mockery, calmly waiting for the match to begin. The referee flipped a coin to decide who would break. Brought to her own domain, her confidence soared. She was determined to humiliate Lan Jing and make her lose face completely. The coin landed on the table. Lan's representative went first. Lan Jing took up the cue. She casually straddled the pool table. With a bang, she broke, and a ball went in unintentionally. As the white ball stopped, the audience started cursing at Lan Jing, saying she didn't even know how to hold the cue properly. The referee also declared that Lan's representative had made a foul on the break, and it was the opponent's turn to shoot. Ning Dai kept mocking Lan Jing, but Lan Jing remained calm and unperturbed. Ning Dai stepped forward, positioned herself, set up the cue, and confidently prepared to shoot. But when she aimed, she realized something was wrong. How did it become a dead-angle shot? The white ball's path was completely blocked. Ning Dai's confidence wavered as she took the shot. She couldn't believe her thoughts, thinking it must be a coincidence. No ball went in. Players switched. The referee was also surprised that the pool queen had made a mistake. It was Lan Jing's turn to shoot again. Lan Jing bent down, almost level with the table, to take her shot. The white ball seemed to be under her control, each collision perfectly executed. The audience was thrilled at the sight. They didn't expect this young girl to be so skilled at pool. Ning Dai watched as balls kept sinking into pockets, her face turning ashen and speechless. Lan Jing blew on the chalk powder and said calmly, "I apologize. I'm about to clear the table in one shot." The mighty pool queen, defeated by a high school girl. As the 8 ball sank, it definitively announced Lan Jing's victory. Lan Jing cleared the table with an astonishing score of 147 points. This was unprecedented even in pool history. Ning Dai was furious. Damn it, was this country bumpkin pretending to be weak, deliberately making me lose face? The fall of a prodigy, a delightful sight. Reporters rushed forward to interview, but were met with Ning Dai's misplaced anger. She slapped a reporter across the face. Those spectators who had bet on her to win began cursing at her. Rongli also approached Bei Gong Yitong, saying smugly, "Sorry about that, young Master Bei Gong. The development rights for that land are mine now." As soon as the match ended, Lan Jing was surrounded by reporters. Only with the united protection of the Lan brothers did she manage to escape. In the car, everyone was panting. Rongli had even lost one of his shoes. Only Lan Jing remained unscathed. Rong Zhua asked when Lan Jing learned to play pool. Mother's secrets were increasing, and as her son, he knew nothing. This wouldn't do. Lan Jing casually replied that she learned it randomly. Her attention was already drawn to the street vendors outside the car. This slight distraction was noticed by Rong Zhua. He asked if Mother liked egg waffles. Rong and I, upon hearing this, immediately jumped up. He immediately called out, "Big brother, stop the car." Before Lan Jing could stop them, the two brothers rushed out. Soon after, the food was handed to Lan Jing. Lan Jing ate happily while thanking them. Rong and I was overjoyed, extremely happy. Beside him, Rong Zhua looked displeased. He had noticed it first, yet the fourth brother had stolen the credit. To show himself off, Rong Zhua invited Lan Jing to have dinner to celebrate the match victory. Just then, Lan Jing's phone rang. Gu Wanwan's message brought bad news. Jing, don't come back to school yet. Everyone's saying you're LJ. Those fans are like madmen searching everywhere for you. Shocking news. Pool Queen Ning died defeated by 18-year-old high school student. Li Qiu, looking at the exaggerated live stream video title, was very excited. She immediately recognized the girl in the frame as the goddess she met at her brother's boxing gym. Without a second thought, she rushed out to seek the goddess. At this moment, Lan Jing had just received Gu Wanwan's message. She declined Rong Zhua's invitation, planning to go to school to resolve the plagiarism controversy. Rong Zhua sensed something was off and took out his phone to check Xuanzhou No. 1 High School's forum. He discovered that Lan Jing's identity had been exposed. How did anyone know you're LJ? Lan Jing was very surprised that Rong Zhua knew she was LJ. After explanation, Lan Jing learned that Rong Hu was also their brother. At this point, the eldest brother Rong Zhun explained the situation to Lan Jing. Unless the giant emperor was willing to help, the surveillance footage in the piano room was almost impossible to recover. Hearing this, Lan Jing calmly said, "If it's about recovering the surveillance footage, I could give it a try." At this moment, in front of the three Lan brothers, Lan Jing was like a deity. They had no doubt about mother's words. Lan Jing said goodbye to the Lan brothers. She switched to Qin Ying's car to head to school. This scene was coincidentally discovered by Li Jiu, who was in pursuit. In the car, Qin Ying was driving distractedly. She put her hand behind Lan Jing's head. Then suddenly, she produced a lollipop and gave it to Lan Jing. Lan Jing was delighted by Qin Ying's little magic trick. "It's just a small trick I recently learned. If you like it, I'll conjure up something for you to eat every day from now on." Thinking about pampering the woman she liked, Qin Ying asked if Lan Jing wanted a sports car. But this brought back unpleasant memories for Lan Jing. Once during time travel, there was a racing car malfunction. She fell off a cliff. Since then, she's had a phobia of driving cars. Seeing Lan Jing's poor state, Qin Ying sensed something was wrong. She quickly said, "Calm down first. From now on, I'll be your personal driver." Time passed silently. The two arrived at school. Qin Ying gently bid farewell to Lan Jing. Li Jiu also arrived just in time to catch up with Lan Jing's departure. The words of nearby students shocked him. How dare Lan Jing, that plagiarist, show her face here? Li Qiu was stunned. He couldn't believe it. The goddess he had been pursuing was actually that Lan Jing. Who could understand the pain of Lan Xiao? Li Jiu returned home exhausted. He complained to Li Junyang with a heavy heart. "Isn't Lan Xiao in the same school as you? How come you didn't tell me she became beautiful?" Li Junyang replied indifferently. "What's the use of becoming beautiful? She still lasts in exams and plagiarizes other songs to make money." Li Jiu listened with a dark expression and stormed off angrily. Seeing his brother's intense reaction, Li Junyang guessed that the one Li Jiu had been infatuated with might be Lan Xiao. He leaned back, suddenly feeling how great his own taste was. How shallow. A girl with substance like Mo Wang Jing was a height Lan Xiao could never reach. Meanwhile, at school, a group of fanatics who couldn't find Lan Jing were bullying Gu Wanwan. Fortunately, Rong Lin passed by and saved her. The fans were very confused. Rong Lin's brother's reputation was endangered because of Lan Jing, yet he was still speaking up for Lan Jing. At this moment, Teacher Li arrived just in time and scolded the violent students. The purple-haired teacher who didn't get along with Lan Jing said, "Trash. They're just upholding justice. The real problem is the brainless fans who side with the plagiarist." Plagiarist? I'm sorry, but Lan Jing, never plagiarize. Lan Jing had just arrived at school when she heard someone slandering her. While wiping the stains off Gu Wanwan, she said, "A press conference will be held on Saturday. The truth will naturally come out. You're welcome to attend in person. Whether you're school bullies or upholding justice will become clear. Oh, and don't forget to compensate for emotional distress and medical expenses." After speaking, Lan Jing left supporting Gu Wanwan. On the other side, Ronghuo received a call from Lan Jing. Upon learning that mother wanted to attend the press conference, Ronghuo was a bit worried. Those reporters might say unethical things, upsetting mother. He wanted to help delete some malicious comments. But Lan Jing was full of confidence, not caring about deleting anything. The harder they criticize now, the more it'll hurt when they're proven wrong. how vicious entertainment reporters can be for the sake of traffic. After Rong took the stage, reporters bombarded him with difficult questions, constantly using leading words to stir up public opinion. Just as Rong was about to be overwhelmed, a voice caused a sensation. Lan Jing arrived wearing a purple gown. "I am LJ, but I didn't plagiarize." The reporters' attitudes were sharp as they questioned Lan Jing. Earlier, they had already interviewed people who didn't get along with Lan Jing and collected a lot of video material. The reporters' words angered the fans, putting pressure on Lan Jing. Looking at the reporter's sneaky expression, Lan Jing was very displeased. But arguing with him would only play into his hands. Lan Jing turned to ask Yang Qianbei, "Are you sure you're the original creator of Doomsday?" Seeing Yang Qianbei insist he was the original creator, Lan Jing decided not to give him another chance. Actually, proving who the plagiarist is very simple, because Doomsday is just the first step. This piece has a total of 3 parts, known as the Doomsday Trilogy. Yang Qianbei looked nervous upon hearing this. On the contrary, his manager's attitude was arrogant. "Such a masterpiece, one part is already incredible. You dare to say there are 3 parts?" At this moment, the live stream comments went crazy, because the arrival of 2 people caused a sensation. It was actually the international piano godfather and an international superstar. Just as the audience thought they were there to support Yang Qianbei, the superstar Cecily had already thrown herself into Lan Jing's arms. After greeting Lan Jing, she explained her identity to everyone. Cecily became famous worldwide with the song "A Ray of Light." At that time, she was suffering from severe depression. It was this song that healed her. Cecily asked the audience, "Do you know who created that song?" Someone in the crowd answered it was Luo Jiguang. After hearing the answer, Cecily continued, "But this person I'm so grateful to is now being falsely accused of plagiarism. It really breaks my heart." With these words, the crowd discussed. This statement implied that Oler was LJ. They still found it hard to believe this fact. The international piano superstar and piano godfather both appeared. Their appearance reduced the unfavorable public opinion against Lan Jing. But at this time, the reporter spoke up again to challenge. "Even if LJ is Aurora, but may I ask what this has to do with her plagiarism? No one can guarantee that the sheet music for A Ray of Light wasn't stolen, and the styles of the 2 songs are so different." Lan Jing had long been annoyed with this reporter. She directly interrupted his question. Facing the reporter's questions, Lan Jing not only handled them easily, but also left the reporter speechless. If she could use her hands, Lan Jing really wanted to teach this person a lesson, to make him a new person. Ronghua also appeared, once again proving that Lan Jing didn't plagiarize. He turned to ask Yang Qianbei if he knew the Doomsday piece was incomplete. Yang Qianbei said that the ending of Doomsday 1 was intentional. His fans also supported him. They said, "You talk so well, if you have the ability, play the next 2 pieces right here." Ronghua handed the sheet music to Yang Qianbei, asking if the sheet music in his hand was also created by him. Yang Qianbei, of course, didn't dare to respond. Sweating, he said it wasn't written by him. Ronghua took back the sheet music, preparing to perform on the spot. As the piano vibrated, intense piano notes spread throughout the venue. Everyone's hearts were drawn in, deeply immersed. Even after Ronghua finished performing, the audience was still unable to snap out of it. After coming to their senses, they erupted into intense cheers. Seeing this, Yang Qianbei still stubbornly insisted, "You must have created parts 2 and 3 based on my piece. In fact, Doomsday is still plagiarized from my original work." Lan Jing didn't say much more. She took out a remote control. "Since you can deny everything we say, let's all watch this surveillance footage together." The time of the video was exactly the day Lan Jing had embarrassed the pianist. Yang Qianbei was seen secretly eavesdropping outside the door. Upon seeing the video, Yang Qianbei was shocked. He questioned his manager, "Didn't you say you had destroyed the surveillance footage?" This was a live broadcast. The tide instantly turned against Yang Qianbei. Yang Qianbei, like a defeated dog, wanted to leave, but he was stopped by Ronghua. Ronghua said, "Miss Yang, leaving without even an apology doesn't seem appropriate, does it? The disgustingness of plagiarism dogs needs no explanation." Although Lan Jing originally didn't care much, being repeatedly confronted, anyone would find it unacceptable. The surveillance video Lan Jing publicly released confirmed the fact that Yang Qianbei was the plagiarism dog. After learning the truth, the audience began to denounce Yang Qianbei. Meanwhile, Lee Junyong, who was watching the live broadcast, was in disbelief. He never imagined that both Aurora and LJ were Lan Jing's aliases. Was Lan Zhao's previous incompetence all an act? At this time, Li Jiu also walked over dejectedly. The two looked at each other, but didn't know what to say. These two unfortunate brothers still couldn't accept this reality. Compared to their music, Qining was very happy. Sitting in the car, he joyfully listened to a ray of light composed by Lan Jing, just as he was immersed in the ocean of music. Lan Jing suddenly opened the car door, startling him. Listening to the song I wrote, Qining hurriedly got up, quickly turned off the music, and denied it. Lan Jing was speechless at this. In the car opposite Qining sat Lan Jing's sons. Ronghua was very dissatisfied with why their mother went to sit in Qinying's car when their car could also accommodate her. Rongli also chimed in, wanting more contact with their mother. Ronghua even wanted to tell their mother about their relationship. But just then, a chill came from behind him. Ronghua calmly wiped his scalpel and slowly said, "If we scare mother away and she never talks to us again, what should we do? Will you take responsibility?" Rong and I, looking at the sharp knife in front of him, tremblingly said, "Second brother is right. Let's wait until we're more familiar with mother before deciding." Qin Ying's side was quite lively. He eagerly offered Lan Jing various snacks and drinks. Lan Jing teasingly asked, "Why are you being so nice to me? Just want to pursue me?" Qining leaned closer to Lan Jing and replied, "I have a very strong feeling, as if we were a loving couple in our past life. And in this life, we're destined to be together." Lan Jing was made shy by these words, turning her head away, unable to look directly at the man beside her. But she still rejected Qin Ying's confession. What does it feel like when your daughter suddenly becomes a big star? At the company, many people suddenly started asking him for his daughter's autograph. Lan Fu had been focusing on developing a new game recently and didn't know about the big event Lan Jing had caused. He thought they were talking about Lan Jiaojiao. The green-haired man beside him asked confusedly, "Who's Lan Jiaojiao?" "We're talking about Miss Lan Jing. Look, there's even a live broadcast." Lan Fu took the tablet. He happily watched the content of the video. Is this radiant person really my little brat? Were those 3 years just a rebellious phase? Has my daughter, whom I was once so proud of, returned? In the Lan family living room, Shen Rong was fuming. She believed Lan Jing had only escaped disaster by sheer luck. That little bitch, if it weren't for her good luck, she'd have been hammered into the mud long ago. Lan Jiaojiao chimed in agreement beside her. This comment was overheard by Lan Fu as he returned home. However, he didn't hear it clearly, only catching the last few words. He asked what they were discussing. Lan Jiaojiao quickly stepped forward to cover up and brush it off. She then inquired about when Lan Jing learned to play the piano. "Our sister Jing can play the piano?" Lan Fu, of course, knew this, but it was when she was 3 years old. After that, Lan Jing never played again. Lan Jiaojiao was shocked. Playing piano at 3 years old? How is that possible? Could her hands even reach? Lan Fu continued, "I asked her back then why she stopped playing. She said she wasn't interested. She looked quite cool, just like me when I was young." Lan Jiaojiao became even more displeased after hearing this. She regretted spreading Lan Jing's identity, which only helped her become famous. Although unhappy, she had to maintain her image. She could only continue praising Lan Jing's strengths. Suddenly, she had an idea. "Oh, father, why don't we have cousin Zihong tutor sister? He's a top graduate from Dezhou University. He can definitely help sister improve further." Lan Fu was skeptical. Would such a capable person be willing to be a tutor? Lan Jiaojiao confidently assured him that she could arrange it. Ending the chat, Lan Fu got up to rest upstairs. Lan Jiaojiao's smile instantly turned into a wicked grin. How could she possibly be so kind? Although her cousin was a top student, at his young age, he had already gotten 2 girls pregnant. If he finds out that Lan Jing has become pretty, he'll definitely be eager to tutor her. I really want to see that bitch get ruined. It would be so satisfying. You've probably never seen such a good actor. Lan Jing returned home late at night. After turning on the lights, she was surprised to find someone in the living room. Lan Fu, holding a cup of coffee, said, "You're back. Come sit for a bit." Lan Jing was also surprised that her father was there. After sitting on the nearby sofa, she said, "It's late. You shouldn't drink too much coffee." A warm feeling flowed through Lan Fu's heart. Is Xiao Jing caring for me? Lan Fu suddenly felt remorseful. He realized that it had been a long time since he and his daughter had a good talk. Moreover, he felt he had failed as a father, not understanding his daughter at all. If it weren't for the plagiarism incident, he might still be in the dark. On the second floor, Lan Jiaojiao secretly watched the two talking, worried that Lan Jing might complain to Lan Fu and steal all his attention. Lan Jing also noticed Lan Jiaojiao spying and deliberately said loudly, "Isn't this all because of your precious daughter?" Lan Jiaojiao knew she had to intervene or face trouble. She silently cursed Lan Jing. Then she walked downstairs, pretending to be confused, and asked, "Dad, sister, why aren't you sleeping? What are you talking about?" Lan Jing wanted to take advantage of the good mood to put Lan Jiaojiao down, said, "Of course, we're discussing how you spread the news about me being LG." Lan Jiaojiao, of course, dared not admit it. She feigned confusion and deflected the question, then acted weak, seeking Lan Fu's protection. Lan Fu, not wanting his daughters to be at odds, spoke up for Lan Jiaojiao. "Jiaojiao is your sister. How could she spread your news?" Lan Jing turned her head in dissatisfaction and said, "She's not even my biological sister." Then Lan Jing stood up and confronted Lan Jiaojiao face to face. She asked about the video Lan Jiaojiao recorded at the press conference, but Lan Jiaojiao didn't dare to confront her directly. She kept deflecting the main points and avoiding the questions. She even squeezed out tears, seeking protection from Lan Fu. Seeing this, Lan Fu also spoke up for Lan Jiaojiao. "Xiao Jing, is there some misunderstanding? Your sister even wanted to find a tutor tonight to help you improve your grades. How could she harm you?" Lan Jing directly revealed everything Lan Jiaojiao had done at school and the situation of her being surrounded. Hearing this, Lan Jiaojiao broke out in a cold sweat. Seeing that she couldn't explain clearly, she simply burst into loud tears, claiming she was wrongly accused. Lan Jing didn't plan to save face for her and continued to expose Lan Jiaojiao's misdeeds. Have you ever seen such a father? Always favoring the prostitute and not believing a word his daughter says. Lan Jing. Even after revealing Lan Jiaojiao's actions, Lan Fu still refused to believe. Seeing Lan Fu leaning towards her, Lan Jiaojiao cried even more pitifully, garnering more sympathy. Lan Fu, not wanting his daughters to continue arguing, escorted Lan Jiaojiao upstairs to rest. Lan Jing watched, her fists clenched in anger. Lan Jiaojiao secretly glanced at Lan Jing, all traces of tears gone from her face, replaced by a mocking smile. The next day, a text message Lan Jing received swept away yesterday's gloom. It turned out that a child sponsored by our sister Jing had been admitted to a key high school. Seeing the good news, Lan Jing felt that the 3 years of poverty alleviation fund hadn't been wasted. Just then, Rong Lin suddenly called. What struck Lan Jing as odd was why her little puppy was stuttering while speaking. On the other side, four pairs of eyes were staring at the youngest, fearing that Rong Lin might say something wrong and upset mother. Seeing that the Lan family's 5 brothers wanted to treat her to a meal, Lan Jing tapped the table and agreed to their request. Soon, everyone arrived at a small alley. Of course, when the Lan brothers invited mother, they would have chosen a luxury hotel. But now the location was chosen by Lan Jing, so they could only go along with mother's wishes. The restaurant's name was also quite interesting, called Criminal Gang Eatery. Rongjua didn't care where they ate, but Qining beside him made him very unhappy. It was their family gathering. Why did he come along? Lan Jing happily greeted the owner. "Aunt Yin, long time no see." The woman called Aunt Yin was also very happy to see Lan Jing and cheerfully invited them in. Qining also tried to follow Lan Jing inside, but suddenly a scalpel appeared in front of his neck. Rongjua said with an unfriendly face, "What exactly is your relationship with her? You're not leaving today without explaining clearly." Qining remained calm and didn't answer. Instead, he asked back, "I should be asking what your relationship with her is. Let me warn you, she's my woman. If you want to touch mother, you'll have to get through me first." They were quickly ushered in to eat. But before they could enter, Rongjua and Qining started arguing. Rongjua was about to explode with anger after hearing Qining refer to mother as his woman. Ronghua appeared just in time to mediate. He soothed his second brother while advising Ying to pursue another girl. Even Ronghua asked him to give up. Lan Jing coldly brushed off his hand from her shoulder. Aunt Yin was very happy to see Lan Jing bring so many boyfriends and offered to treat them for free, telling them to order whatever they wanted. But our sister Jing didn't want to take advantage, especially since they were acquaintances. "That wouldn't do. Otherwise, we won't come anymore." All right, I'll give you an 80% discount. How's that?" Lan Jing gladly agreed. She needed to save money for poverty alleviation anyway, so she even ordered the cheapest wine. Qining was very puzzled as to why she specifically asked for the cheapest wine. Lan Jing answered frankly that there was no other way. Hearing that Lan Jing was poor, Qining immediately offered to treat everyone to this meal. Ronghua was very shocked. The world-renowned miser actually wanted to treat people to a meal. He wondered if Qining would change his mind when it came time to pay. Qining smiled confidently and arrogantly slapped his bank card on the table. However, his self-perceived cool behavior was mercilessly mocked by Lan Jing. WeChat payment would suffice. Why bring out the bank card? Seeing Qining embarrassed, the Lan brothers couldn't help but laugh. Not long after the commotion ended, Aunt Yin brought the dishes. Lan Jing took the opportunity to ask Aunt Yin why business was so poor now. Aunt Yin sighed helplessly. Don't mention it, I was planning to close down next month. Fortunately, I can see you again before closing. Lan Jing found it strange. The food was delicious. Why was business so bad? The owner explained that it was because of the new skewer snacks launched by the Lianchun Garden chain store across the street. The prices were affordable and no reservations were needed. Many people were queuing up there. Those skewers were ordinary, but the spices concocted by Miss Jun were so fragrant they attracted all the customers. Hearing this, Lan Jing fell into deep thought. The current spices and the previous sachets. It seemed she needed to investigate the situation. This was the first time she'd seen a brother trying to fleece his sister like this. As soon as Lan Jing got home, Lan Yichen followed her. With a dejected expression, he apologized to her. I'm sorry. On the day of the press conference, I didn't know they were trying to harm you. Otherwise, I would have stopped Sister Jiao Jiao from saying those things. Lan Jing had never blamed her brother for this, especially since the matter was already in the past. Upon hearing this, Lan Yichen's face instantly changed. He grinned and took out paper and pen, asking Lan Jing for her autograph. Lan Jing didn't understand what use her signature would be. Unexpectedly, this biological brother actually wanted to sell the autograph for money. Lan Jing smacked Lan Yichen on the head and angrily asked, "Have you already spent the 10,000 yuan I transferred to you last time?" "It was only 10,000. I've long spent it all." Lan Jing looked at her troublesome brother helplessly. "We'll talk about the autograph later. You're coming with me to Lianchun Garden for dinner in a bit." Hearing Lianchun Garden, Lan Yichen's eyes immediately lit up. He had wanted to eat there for a long time. Inside Lianchun Garden, it was bustling with activity. Lan Yichen saw many people queuing up, and the aroma was enticing. He also wanted to eat skewers. But Lan Jing didn't want her brother to eat. If he wanted those spice products, he could queue up and buy them himself. At this moment, Jin Yue suddenly appeared. Seeing Lan Jing, she said with a disdainful expression, "Oh my, isn't this someone from the Lan family? You're not here to eat, are you? Too bad. Our Lianchun Garden doesn't welcome dogs or Lan family members. If you want to eat, please go elsewhere." These words angered Lan Yichen greatly. "Watch your language. Mind your manners. Is this how Lianchun Garden treats its guests?" Seeing his sister arguing with someone, Jin Muqin rushed over. To prevent customers from seeing and gossiping, he smiled and reprimanded his sister before attending to Lan Jing. "Miss Lan, it's an honor to have you here. We should properly entertain you. However, our restaurant requires reservations. I wonder if Miss Lan has made a reservation?" Since Lan Jing had decided to come to Lianchun Garden, she was naturally prepared. She took out a wooden token and tossed it over. Jin Muqin silently looked at the wooden token in his hand. It was indeed their restaurant's reservation token. Logically, Lianchun Garden wouldn't allow reservations from the Lan family. He had wanted to use this to make things difficult, but didn't expect Lan Jing to actually have a reservation token. He had no choice but to invite Lan Jing in. Lianchun Garden was the most famous restaurant in Chuanzhou. The dishes they served were unforgettable and left people lingering. Lan Jing came to Lianchun Garden to gather information. However, she faced constant obstacles from Jin Yue. Every sentence implied that the Lan family was poor and couldn't afford to eat. Lan Jing handed the menu to Jin Yue and ordered everything she had recommended. But Jin Yue just said, "Please wait," without taking the menu, clearly having no intention of serving Lan Jing. At this moment, Jin Muqin walked up to her sister, advising her not to be so angry and to entertain the guests first. Jin Yue was fuming, not understanding why her sister wanted to entertain the young lady from their rival family. Jin Muqin smiled crookedly. She whispered, "If you really can't stand them, there will be plenty of opportunities to deal with them later, right?" Soon, all the dishes were served. Lan Yichen eagerly began to devour the food. After finishing a plate of fried rice with eggs, he still felt unsatisfied and wanted to ask his sister to order another one. Lan Jing, however, was completely opposite to her brother. She only tasted each dish lightly before putting down her chopsticks and drinking tea. Although she only ate a few bites, Lan Jing had already discovered the secret of Lianchuan Garden. The reason why all the dishes here were so fragrant and delicious was because of the added spices. The cooking time and knife skills were all very ordinary. Moreover, eating too many spices is not good for health. Not to mention that some spices can even be addictive. Lan Yichen heard Lan Jing say the food wasn't good and found it hard to believe. He worried if his sister's taste buds had some problem. Lan Jing couldn't be bothered to explain. Since you like it, it's all yours. Don't waste food. Lan Yichen became even happier hearing this and prepared to eat a lot. Teenage boys indeed have big appetites. Soon, the dishes were emptied one by one. Lan Yichen happily sprawled on the chair, patting his belly. After resting for a while, he got up again to go to the bathroom. Lan Jing looked at her brother and sighed helplessly. This brat hasn't changed a bit in 3 years, still so reckless. After Lan Yichen left, Lan Jing picked up the bill. Looking at the cost of over 3,000 yuan, she couldn't help but feel the pain. Indeed, roadside food stalls are more affordable. Just as Lan Jing was about to pay, she suddenly heard her brother arguing with someone outside. High-end restaurant or roadside food stall, which would you choose? Lan Jing looked at the bill in her hand, feeling a pang of pain. Just as she was about to pay, a violent argument suddenly erupted outside the door. Lan Jing's heart skipped a beat. One of the voices was her brother's. She immediately opened the door and walked towards the hall. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Lan Yichen arguing with Zhen Yue. There was also a broken vase lying on the ground. Lan Jing hurriedly came forward to ask what happened. Lan Yichen explained that someone drunk had bumped into him, causing him to break a pot of orchids, but he was accused of doing it intentionally. Zhen Yue, hearing Lan Yichen's explanation, became even more displeased. Isn't it true? Sister shouldn't have let you in to eat in the first place. On the other side, at the Zhen family villa, Old Man Zhen was happily posting on his social media, showing off the mutated jade his granddaughter had given him. Before he could get many likes, his beloved granddaughter called. He happily answered the phone, only to hear an anxious voice on the other end. Grandpa, your blue jade orchid has been killed by the Lan family. Please come quickly. Old Man Zhen was thunderstruck upon hearing the news. He hurriedly got up and rushed to Lianchuan Garden. In Lianchuan Garden, Zhen Yue said tremblingly, "This blue jade orchid had an offer of 5 million, but my sister didn't sell it." Lan Jing thought Zhen Yue was deliberately inflating the price to give them a hard time. The siblings mockingly replied, "This blue jade orchid's color is neither pure, nor is its pattern elegant enough. It's worth 1.5 million at most. Whoever wanted to buy, it must be really stupid." Zhen Yue was so angry she started to stutter. She didn't understand orchids either, and didn't know if what Lan Jing said was true or false. She turned to the drunk man behind her and said, "Young Master Lu, they're calling you stupid." The drunk man called young Master Lu, with his eyes spinning and reeking of alcohol, still maintained a superior attitude. "You dare to insult me? Which family are you from? You dare to go against me? Are you tired of living?" Zhen Yue disdainfully explained, "They're just that third-rate small family, the Lan family, who are about to go bankrupt." Although young Master Lu had never heard of the Lan family, upon hearing the words third-rate, he arrogantly pointed at Lan Jing and started spouting nonsense. Lan Yichen quickly stood in front of his sister. He had never heard of this young Master Lu before. He grabbed the drunk man's wrist. He immediately threw a punch, knocking him to the ground. How could anyone not like such a handsome brother? Seeing someone disrespecting his sister, Lan Yichen grabbed the man's wrist and immediately threw a punch, knocking the man to the ground. But unexpectedly, a group of black-clothed bodyguards suddenly appeared behind the man. "You dare to hit me? Go and cripple those two for me." Hearing this, the bodyguards swarmed towards Lan Jing. Lan Yichen also hurriedly shielded his sister, but there were too many people to protect against. One of them managed to reach out to grab Lan Jing. Suddenly, a white light flashed. The sound of punches landing and screams of pain filled the air. In the blink of an eye, all the black-clothed bodyguards were knocked to the ground. A red-haired robot adjusted its sleeves and said, "Master, all target individuals have lost their ability to resist." Rongjue entered sitting in a wheelchair, twirling a scalpel. No, he glided in. When Zhen Yue saw Rongjue, Her eyes immediately turned into hearts and her face flushed red. But what she didn't expect was that her idol went straight to Lan Jing. Rongjue took Lan Jing's hand and concernedly asked if Mother Superior was injured. Jin Muqin, not seeing Rongjue's actions, shyly came forward to greet him. But she was met with Rongjue's unfriendly face. "How much is that jade orchid? I'll pay for it." Jin Muqin could hardly believe what she heard, unable to understand the relationship between him and Lan Jing. Lan Jing quickly spoke up to stop him. She didn't want to trouble Rongjue over such a small matter. She was more curious about why Rongjue, whose legs were fine yesterday, was now in a wheelchair. Faced with Mother Superior's concern, Rongjue felt a bit embarrassed, because there was actually nothing wrong with his legs. The wheelchair was just to strengthen Mother Superior's impression of him. Jin Muqin, who was brought along, felt a surge of dissatisfaction as she watched Lan Jing and Rongjue chatting happily. Her looks were no less than Lan Jing's. She was talented and versatile. She had even received an admission letter from Jiuzhou Academy. While Lan Jing was only good at composing and chess, her grades were terrible. But why would Rongjue rather look at Lan Jing and not spare her a glance? Just as Jin Muqin was feeling depressed, the Jin family patriarch also arrived at the scene. This was a billion-dollar international conference. Yet the man was about to leave directly just because of a phone call. The employees couldn't understand what kind of matter could be more important than a billion-dollar business. The reason for the man's departure was only one. His Mother Superior was in trouble. On the other side, Lan Jing was being pressured over a broken orchid. Old Man Jin kept talking about how rare this orchid was, deliberately making things difficult for Lan Jing, demanding she replace it with an identical orchid. Rongjue, being a mother-protecting fanatic, couldn't stand it anymore. He called his older brother, asking him to quickly bring a jade orchid to resolve the situation. Lan Jing interrupted Rongjue, who wanted to help. "Is it just a jade orchid? I can't provide an identical one, but bringing an orchid of higher quality than the jade orchid is simple for us. Not only will we compensate, but we'll also add a Su Higuandi orchid." The onlookers laughed. A nearly bankrupt gentleman actually said he would compensate others. A Su Higuandi orchid is worth 20 million. How could he make such a big claim? Old Man Jin mocked. Lan, a stinky girl, probably doesn't even know what Su Higuandi is. After mocking, he continued to make things difficult, insisting on having a jade orchid exactly like his own. Faced with this difficulty, Lan Jing thought for a moment and proposed to bring 10 jade orchids for him to choose the one most similar in appearance. Old Man Jun reluctantly agreed to the request. How does this young girl like to show off so much? She won't be able to bring 10 jade orchids. Let's see how I'll mock her. Lan Jing turned around to make a phone call to have someone deliver the jade orchids. As soon as she finished speaking, the jade orchid was delivered. But the person who brought it was Rongjue, the eldest brother of the Lan family. Upon learning that Mother Superior was in trouble, he quickly found a pot of jade orchid and rushed it over. When Old Man Jin saw this pot of jade orchid, his eyes lit up. The quality of this flower was far superior to his own. Although he wanted it badly, he now wanted to humiliate Lan Jing even more. He disdainfully said he only wanted the orchid from that girl. Lan Jing quickly told Old Man Jin not to worry. The orchids would arrive soon. Just as she finished speaking, a waiter rushed in, exclaiming in shock that a large truck had arrived outside. It was fully loaded with top-quality orchids. The woman's brother was falsely accused of breaking a pot of orchid and unreasonably asked to compensate with an identical jade orchid. This was the most we could tolerate. One phone call, and a whole truck arrived. Pots of orchids worth millions each were delivered, as if they were watermelons. And the ones on the truck weren't just ordinary jade orchids. Each one was colorful and perfect in quality. All were top grade. Not only that, but there were also several pots of mutated jade orchids. The onlookers were shocked. This was a scene they had never even dreamed of. This simple truck probably carried goods worth over 100 million. Old Man Jin was astonished when he saw the orchids. My goodness! The truck not only had jade orchids, but also the more precious Su Higuandi. But he had said he only wanted jade orchids. Just as he didn't know what to say, Lan Jing had already given the Su Higuandi to Old Man Li, whose mouth was practically watering. The remaining two in the old men's group, seeing Old Man Li receive a pot of top-grade mutated orchid, were envious and wanted one to play with even though they didn't know how to care for flowers. Lan Jing generously gave them 2 pots of jade orchids. These jade orchids were cheap and easy to care for. Even if they died, there were still many left. Old man Jin coughed up blood. Lan Jing's words pierced him like sharp swords. The jade orchid he had carefully nurtured at a high price had become as common as street goods in her mouth. At this point, Lan Jing took out the remaining jade orchids and asked Old Man Jin to choose which one looked most similar to the broken one. Old Man Jin looked at the orchids pushed in front of him, speechless. It was like adding insult to injury. Every pot here was 1,000 times better in quality than his own orchid. He had intended to humiliate others, but ended up slapping his own face. His face felt burning hot with pain. Old Man Jun regretted it deeply in his heart. If he hadn't mocked Lan Jing earlier, not only the jade orchid but also that rare Su Higuan Di would have been his. Old Man Jun, his mentality shattered by the blow, randomly chose a pot. With the matter resolved, Lan Jing was very happy. Unexpectedly, as one wave settled, another arose. The intense argument from behind caught Lan Jing's attention. She turned around and saw two foreigners cursing loudly at the restaurant owner. Have you ever seen such disgusting foreigners? Come into a Chinese restaurant to eat and then mocking Chinese food as garbage. The restaurant owner had never been told his food was garbage since opening the restaurant. Although angry, he didn't want to cause trouble. He didn't even ask for payment, just wanting to drive these two dogs away. Unexpectedly, the two foreigners became even more arrogant, continuing to shout insults at him as they left. Wait, just then a fair hand blocked their way. The one who stopped them was none other than our Jing Jing. These two foreigners clearly looked down on Chinese cuisine and came to deliberately cause trouble. We couldn't just let them get away with it. We had to show them a thing or two. Let these country bumpkins witness the profound depth of Chinese cuisine. Lan Jing shouted, ordering the two foreigners to sit back down. The two bullies who only picked on the weak now just wanted to escape. But how could Lan Jing let them have their way? She told Yin Shin to watch them and not let them escape. Only then did Yin Shin realize why he had been so polite to these two troublemakers. He pulled out an 80-meter ancestral cleaver and slammed it on the table. The foreigners were terrified by Yin Shun's intimidating aura, sweating profusely. They thought they could bully a woman and get a free meal, but they didn't expect to provoke the wrong person and encounter a tough opponent. Soon, a fragrant aroma wafted over. Lan Jing brought the stir-fried dish to the table. The two foreigners took a bite of the food with a critical mindset, but just one bite captivated their hearts. They never imagined such delicious food existed in the world. The two even started fighting to get more bites. In the end, they didn't even spare the plate, licking the last of the sauce like dogs. The foreigners lay satisfied in their chairs, asking what this delicious dish was called. Lan Jing smiled and answered, celery stir-fried with lean pork, abbreviated as beast. Beast? What a strange name. The two were confused, unaware they were being insulted. Yin Shin wasn't kind enough to explain it to them. Waving the cleaver, he told them to pay up and get out. After dealing with the troublemakers, Lan Jing smiled and pulled him to the kitchen. Yin Shin didn't understand why she was taking him there. Lan Jing confidently said, "Want to improve business? Want to learn how to cook? I'll teach you." The Chinese restaurant was run diligently, yet faced foreigners coming to cause trouble. This wasn't just bullying the old man. How could our Jing just stand by? In just 2 or 3 moves, she made the two foreigners flee in panic. They were utterly humiliated. Unexpectedly, after a few days, someone else came to cause trouble. The newcomer was Miss Jun, the second daughter from the Lianchuan Garden restaurant across the street. The Jun family restaurant had quickly risen to prominence with their unique spices, constantly opening chain stores. Due to the good location of the Yanshin restaurant, it was targeted year after year, and business kept getting worse. The second daughter came to force Shun to give up the storefront. As she continued to threaten Yin Shun, Lan Jing suddenly appeared behind her, startling her. Isn't it just that business isn't good? Lan Jing boasted that within a week, the Yanshin restaurant would definitely surpass Lianchuan Garden. The second daughter was furious, gritting her teeth. Her plans had been thwarted multiple times by him, but she firmly believed she would win this time. This Lan Jing really thought he was something special. Lianchuan Garden used secret spices blended by her sister. In a week, we'll see who the real clown is. Yin Shun was also worried about making such a bold claim. What if they lost? After all, Lianchuan garden spices were truly unbeatable. Lan Jing was very composed. If others use aroma to attract customers, we naturally can too. After all, true deliciousness relies on more than just spices. Soon after, a strong aroma wafted through the streets. The smell was truly enticing, making people's mouths water. Finally, someone discovered the source of the aroma. Passers-by flocked in, entering the Yin Shen restaurant. They asked where the aroma came from, wanting to order some to satisfy their cravings. This aroma is from our manager's beef sauce. They quickly turned and shouted, "We don't sell this sauce. It's only given free with ordered dishes." The passers-by didn't care about these tactics. To eat the beef sauce, they all entered. Meanwhile, Lianchuan garden was empty. The second daughter watched people continuously entering the Yanshan restaurant, trembling with anger. She couldn't understand why Lan Jing always succeeded. Just then, a super luxury sports car suddenly stopped in front of the Yanshan restaurant. Two CEOs worth billions were competing against each other, just to vie for attention from one woman. After learning that the Liu family's eldest son had bullied Lan Jing, Qining immediately ordered to cut off all of Liu's future prospects. "How dare they bully my wife Qining? They'll regret messing with me." Rongjun, standing nearby, was very displeased with the show-off scene. "Using my employee and stealing my lines? How could I let you steal the spotlight?" He told his assistant to invest in Lan's newly developed game. Rongjun showed a mocking expression. "You stingy god, can you pamper her as much as I do?" Mother's favorite, Qinin, couldn't compete with him in terms of financial power. He took out his phone and called Lan Jing directly, inviting her out for dinner. After getting Lan Jing's agreement, Qinin turned around coolly. Before leaving, he said smugly, "Sorry, I have a date with Miss Lan Jing. No need for you to treat me to dinner." Rongjun was furious at Qin Yin's smug attitude. "Who said I was going to treat you to dinner? And why can this guy directly ask mother out for dinner?" In this battle for attention, Li Rongjun suffered a complete defeat. Qining drove a luxury sports car to the front of the criminal gang. Lan Jing saw that he had changed cars again and was puzzled. Has he gone from being a miser to a car-changing maniac? Qining boasted that he changed it just for her. Lan Jing didn't believe it at all and directly pointed out that his car was rented. Qining was embarrassed, not understanding how she figured it out. Lan Jing smiled without saying anything. Recently, a friend told her about a sucker who always rented his collection of cars. It seems that sucker was the stingy Qin standing in front of her. Qining worried that Lan Jing would look down on him for renting a car, but our Jing Jie didn't care about such things at all. Since the criminal gang was too busy today, they had to find another place to eat. Qini took the opportunity to suggest eating at his home, and he would personally cook and make juice for Andy to drink. This man was the world's #1 lawyer who stayed away from women. This time, he not only broke tradition by bringing a woman home, but also offered to cook for her personally. Qinin was diligently cutting fruits, preparing to make a nutritious and delicious fruit juice. Bored, Lan Jing observed that the room was bright and spacious, and the decor suited her taste. But remembering Qin Yin's stingy nature, she couldn't help but wonder if this mansion was also rented. How could the house he lived in be rented? But Qining noticed that Lan Jing liked this place very much, so he thought about giving her this mansion. Lan Jing took a sip of black tea and said calmly, "Let's wait until you successfully pursue me before discussing that." Qining was overjoyed. Judging from her words, it seemed he had a chance. He secretly vowed to win Lan Jing over as soon as possible. Then he could bring her to live in the mansion. Qin Ying's thoughts drifted far away. He was almost ready to pick names for their children. Suddenly, a sharp pain in his hand brought him back to reality. While daydreaming, he had accidentally cut his hand. For some reason, Lan Jing felt a pang in her heart and quickly ran over to check on him. But Qining didn't want Lan Jing to know. He turned his body to block her view and secretly rinsed the wound. Unexpectedly, Lan Jing's attitude was very firm. Somewhat angrily, she told Qining to show his hand. Seeing that he still refused, she directly grabbed his hand. Upon seeing the wound on Qin Ying's hand, Lan Jing's heart ached even more. She quickly told him to sit down and went to find a bandage. Qining watched Lan Jing searching around, feeling confused. Is something not right? Are the character settings reversed? This anxious appearance is just like his own little wife. But the feeling of being cared for by her was truly delightful. Jingyin reached out and pulled Lan Jing into his arms. Resting his chin next to her head, he softly said, "No need to look anymore. You are my bandage." A cool, fresh scent emanated from behind Lan Jing, mixed with a hint of tobacco. For some reason, it felt incredibly familiar to her, as if she had smelled it countless times in a previous life.